3, 2, 1, 0, pow, and then we'll go.
3, 2, 1, clap, or 3, 2, 1, 0, clap.
3, 2, 1, clap.
All right.
All right. All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Hunters Hub. This is your host, Fortuan, joined by a guest and good friend, Gmo/Jacob. How we doing
What's
tonight,
going
bud?
on, everybody? I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah. So Sasha couldn't be here tonight, and I have no idea where the hell Ace is. So here we are. We just have Jacob. And if you guys do the Bickering Bucks, Jacob's on with me on Bickering Bucks, one of our side shows. So
Yep.
welcome today. And I actually liked your idea better than our original idea we had before Sasha had to go. So yeah, what it takes to get back into a busted game, essentially.
Yes.
Um,
hmm
I think I have a couple things that we can talk about. I think there's some games that we can talk about why we'll never go back to, maybe, um, stuff like that, or things that we did go back to, depending on news and whatnot. Um,
Okay.
but as I normally like to do some chit chat before the main topic. So what have you been playing lately, Jacob?
Ooh. Let me go to my list of games.
Now, I'm sure
Lord.
people are aware that we've been playing Arceus because we're recording that in like what, 3 days now from today?
Yeah. Yeah. 3 days from today. Let me see here. Actually, I'm actually at the point now that I keep track of the games that I play, just
Mm-hmm.
because we talk about them at the end of the year, and I always forget about all of the games that I play at the beginning of the year. So I started keeping track.
I only keep
Now the
track
thing
of
is,
notable ones, honestly.
if I start it, it's going on the list. Just in case I finish it, then I talk about it more. But I just keep notes just to make sure that I'm all together when I get to the end there. Let me
Yeah.
see here. Bada boom. All right. Let me see here. So recently, I have been playing a few games. I've been on a giant Fortnite kick. I took a break for like a good month.
Yeah.
Jumped back on that with my spouse, with my daughter. And so the three of us have been leveling up. We're all over level 100, trying to get the rest of my goals so I can get the all the Spidey costumes. This is one of the few seasons that I actually care about finishing the battle pass and getting all of the bonuses.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to
So
beat Fortnite, but you said what?
so Spider-Man, isn't this also where like Nathan Drake and stuff is in it too right now?
Yes, they just put Nathan Drake in it. They actually did a nice incorporation with Nathan Drake. What they did is they leave different treasure maps across the map, and so you pick up a
Hmm.
map and it'll take you to literally X marks the spot, and you like dig up, do your little pickaxe and dig up, and it basically gives treasure to your entire team. So we did that today. We were playing with my nephew too, so we like squatted up with my daughter and my nephew
Hmm.
and my spouse and I. So that was pretty fun. Obviously we've been playing Pokemon Arceus. um I've also been playing. There's this interesting game called The Pedestrian on Game Pass.
Okay.
It's a puzzle platformer game where the guy on the signs where he's like crossing the street,
Yes.
like literally like pedestrian crossing here.
Mm-hmm.
You literally play a stick figure of that guy, but he's like walking in between like a bunch of different signs.
Hmm.
And so like he'll go from like one sign that'll be on like say like a fence, and then the next sign is like on the ground somewhere. And then you'll come to like a bunch of different signs, and you basically affix them around and connect doorways through the different signs to make him a path to get through the level.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a little bit of spatial uh logic, and then you're also like going through doors and keys and trying to do things in order. It's very interesting. They'll give you sometimes they'll just drop you like, here's 12 pieces. You're like, okay. So
Give me a minute to figure out what's next.
right. So you do that. And then lastly, I've been playing the game that spurred this topic
Mm-hmm.
is I've been playing Cyberpunk 2077 since they
Yes.
dropped the next gen update and a 1.5 update.
Yeah, yeah, they did a couple updates recently. Um,
Yeah. So I think I have 13 hours in Cyberpunk so far.
okay. Well, for
Hmm.
myself, it's mostly been Arceus. Like, I put like not to spoil Tuesday, but I put over 70 hours, and that was my
Hmm.
primary game for a lot of the time. But I have been doing since the beta came up, Lost Ark. Um,
Okay.
in fact, I was playing more of that just before we started recording. Um, that's an interesting one for me because I was expecting a lot more of Diablo than MMO,
Hmm.
and it ends up being a lot more MMO than Diablo. But the style of play is still fun. I haven't really seen anything in it where I'm just like I can't do this by myself, because that's a big turnoff for me with MMOs. It's like, hey, you got to have a raid group, you got to do this. I'll roll up to a dungeon and I'll just select hardest difficulty and do it by myself in this game.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, cool. So far, but I haven't hit max level or anything yet. So I'm not really. We'll see. I did start a guild for the podcast, a hunter sub guild. Um, so there's a one other person in it so far. Jacob, you and Ashley are supposedly going to be in it whenever you guys can get
Yeah.
on.
I actually don't know if we're going to play it, honestly. We gave it the old college try. She actually got further than me.
Mm-hmm.
When I finally figured out what the problems were with my old laptop, I was like, got to run DirectX 9 instead of 11. Because apparently 11 just bricks the thing.
Hmm.
Um, That's weird. It literally came with DirectX 11 out the box. Anyway, besides the point. I finally figured out what it was after like day 3 of like struggling plus server issues plus getting everything running. Finally, I was like, all right, it's running. I was like, cool, it's running. But the problem is, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the controls because it doesn't function like other MMOs do. Like normally, if you see something, especially the class I picked the artillerist class. You normally just click something and you attack it. They
Mm-mm.
want you to like right click, but you have to like change the direction. And I was like, let me try on controller. I was like, oh, so I have to aim, and then I was like, I don't know if I want to run those kind of controls. It's the targeting system is really weird to me personally.
I use a full QWREASDFG in my rotations. So I am four fingers on my left hand with left and right clicking. Um,
Yeah.
so it's it's different because you're used to pressing like one and two and then clicking stuff like if you're thinking like wow, that kind of thing. But this isn't. I hear a lot of people talking about rotations like in WoW, but
Hmm.
honestly, with it having such a structured rotation slot of QWER and like a couple numbers and a couple of the F keys, like it's not really that hard to get your hand across to everything on a keyboard. So like I'd actually almost it's weird because I even though Diablo made a lot of progress for playing such a game on a controller, I don't want to think about how to play this on a controller because I would just be missing some things. I need to have straight up 8 different buttons that I would have to press to just to do the fighting, let alone any sort of like
Yeah.
potions or any other items or anything like that. Um,
It's definitely incomplete still. Like I think to open up like a certain, I think it was the skills menu. I think it's because I think it's K on the keyboard. Because I was trying to learn both of it each time to see which one worked. Like if I
mhm.
had to choose, mouse and keyboard would be the best, but I can't click to aim. And I play Final Fantasy 14 strictly with a controller, like solely. This game is doable on a controller if you change a few settings, but just like having to go back and forth just for certain things, I was like, keyboard, mouse, and keyboard is the way to go.
Mhm.
So I might give it another go next week before we jump into our next game for the show. But
Sure.
yeah, it's definitely a learn for me. It's a learning curve that I don't like getting over.
Yeah.
So
Well, on top of playing that, I've been playing this game. I don't know if I'd call it an indie, but I don't really. It's not a big publisher game called Ziggurat 2. And Ziggurat 2 is a fun roguelike FPS, and you basically go through what in the first game it was a ziggurat. In the second game, you're actually going to different places. Um, you go in, and if you beat the dungeon, you get more stuff unlocked for your class or whatever. And there's different characters you unlock and everything. And you're a wizard, so you have a wand that always recharges its mana. You have a spell, you have a staff, and you have an artifact. I think is what they call it. And they all take up different mana resources, and you get like upgrades and downgrades and stuff like that. Your typical roguelike, but it's done in an FPS style. So I have been playing like like a run or two of this before I start playing Lost Ark. Um, just to be like, hey, I just got some stuff on Ziggurat. In fact, I actually bought it on the Switch too because I've been like, hey, I need to find something to play on the Switch.
It's on the Switch too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say I did get it on the Switch, and I went through the tutorial. The graphics on it is way bad compared to PC. It, it
Okay.
it's it didn't get in the way for me, but I was like, it's noticeable. It's very noticeable. It still runs well. That's the important part because you need to be able to run well. But the so Ziggurat has been sort of like a big one I've been playing, but I also recently signed up for the Nintendo
Just
Switch Online Plus with
I
my
just wanted to
kids.
let you know it's also on Xbox. It is now on my wish list. Thank you. I was looking at it the whole time. I was like, oh, how have I not seen? I love roguelites. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
it's a good one. So I also got the Nintendo Switch Online Plus, which has
Okay.
sparked a fervor in both of my kids to play Mario Tennis, and
Oh.
it is partially why I have a headache today because they were just screaming with joy. Um, and just
Oh.
so we'll do a rotation of me with computer versus them two, and then want me with one of them, and then me with the other. And computer always going to the other person. Um,
Hmm. Do you get the
em-
easy computer and they get the hard computers?
they get normal computers because
Okay.
I can still lose with an easy computer in this game.
Oh, okay.
Um, I don't know. I never played a lot of Mario Tennis, so for me it was a little different. And oh, welcome Ace.
Hey,
Hi.
buddy.
So
We'll
sorry.
we'll have to clap you in when you're ready.
Yep.
I'll just keep going until you're ready. So Emery has gotten into her head that the best team is the buff team. So she specifically has her partner, like her computer partner, pick Bowser, and she plays DK, and they only play
Oh,
power smashes, and
oh
just
my God.
completely.
That sounds awful.
And it's like buff team is scary because Emery can win. I have to try my hardest to not
Oh,
lose.
shoot. He's
Um,
discovered the meta. Oh, no.
all right, so we're ready to clap you in. So we'll just do a 3, 2, 1 count, and we'll cut out this part of it, I guess. So ready, Ace?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, welcome, Ace. So what held you up?
Well, we ordered food and it arrived, and so I just kind of lost track of time in
Mm,
between eating it. So my bad.
all good.
Also had some new soup that was like a mixture of like several different kinds of fish or seafood. It had oysters or mussels in it. I had mussels for the first time.
Okay, I hope that goes well, because
Well, we'll see.
that can go bad a couple different ways.
Oh, I know. No,
Wait.
it seemed like it was cooked. Like, and I know that sometimes when people get like the grittiness of like sand or other stuff in it, that can cause them to like get nausea on the spot and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
it didn't
Mm.
have any of that. Plus, I didn't chew it that long to find out if there was that. So I was pretty quick about just it's kind of chewy, has sort of like a seafoody meaty taste. All right, let's just swallow and get this down.
Wow, that's It's I don't know. I don't know if I would ever eat a seafood stew or anything. Like I'm fine with seafood, but like I don't know how that would sit with me.
I mean, it was decent. It was like a to sort of like a tomato based spicy broth, but I went with more like mild since it was the first time having it. So it had a little bit of heat, but not like where it's going to overwhelm me. Um, there was one
Oh
time where we
jeez.
went and picked up food from a local place, and I'm not sure if I told you about this experience before, but there was one time where I got like a curry from the place, and the owner, because she works on the line there, she was like, "How much spice do you want?" And I was like, some spice," and 10 minutes later, she's like taste testing it, and I see her go like, and I'm like, "Oh shit," and she's like, "It's very spicy. Is that okay?" And I'm like, yes." Like I said, some
Ooh.
spice.
Oh,
I We get it back. We get back home. It's basically inedible. Like the thing was like overwhelming chili on like the noodles and the beef, and
Hmm.
like I tried putting in like some Kewpie mayo. I tried putting in like some hoisin sauce, some soy paste and stuff like that. It just no nullification, just straight chili hate to the mouth.
That is terrible. Uh so um Jacob here might be familiar with it. Brian has a place that he introduced me to last time we were there. It's like Yeti or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. I got a no spice. Like literally like I don't even think it was mild. It was like no spice.
Hmm.
Um
Yeah.
Chauncey got a mild and I was dying. It was literally the most spiciest thing I have ever had and I had a no spice.
I
Like
think they messed up.
Hmm.
There's no way.
oh
Probably.
no, it was and Sean's had the mild and he was sweating bullets. Now, what Brian had told me is that's normal for there. That's what he told me. And I was
Mm.
just like, dude, it
Nice.
tasted great, but man, that was the we I drank like I don't even like Coke Zero. I drank like 4 cans of Coke Zero just to like
Hmm.
like calm it down. Um that's all they really had. It was like that or water. And I was like, I guess I'll go with the Coke Zero. Not that I hate water, but I don't want the heat to spread as much. Um,
Right.
Right.
so that was an experience. But what we're getting into, Ace, is just things we've been playing lately. And I was saying I got the Nintendo Online Plus. Um,
Hmm.
and I've been playing Mario Tennis a lot with the girls. So much so I even pulled out Mario Tennis Aces, which I got on the Switch like when it came out, and they were like, no, let's go back to the old one because they don't want all the super shots and everything. They just wanted straight tennis, which is what the old one was. And I was like, okay, fine. I think I like the newer one better because you could play it without the super shots just fine. Um, there might even be a way to turn it off, but I was like, I don't know. I like to be able to play with dry bones, but they were okay with the old roster. Um,
Yeah.
so been playing a lot of that. I also been working on Banjo-Kazooie, and I have completed this game several times. So it's just like a just for me, it's just like a hey, let's go do this, and I've been kind of showing the girls the along the way. And I'm most of the way through the game already. I'm on Rusty Bucket Bay, which those are familiar. This is the penultimate actual full level. Um,
Hmm.
and I have run into potentially a game breaking bug.
Oh no.
So there's a switch that you have to hit, and it puts a timer to stop spinning these rotors on a boat in Rusty Bucket Bay, and the jiggy's
Mhm.
behind the rotors. And if you touch the rotors while they're spinning, you just straight up die. You just lose a life.
All right.
Um, the switch,
Makes sense.
I let the switch timer run out because I hit it before I wanted to on accident. Just sort of like going through the motions, just hitting switches as I go, unlocking things. I was like, yeah, I don't want to go over there yet. So I let it run out. And the Switch came back up and everything, but the timer won't start again. So it's just broken. I've reloaded. I've killed myself. I've done all sorts of stuff to get this thing to go, and it just didn't. So I'm like, the best I can do is
Well,
fully close the game and then reopen it from a save point instead of the
Mm.
suspended point that I have,
Yeah.
and see
if
where
anyone could find a way.
see if that will work. But that's my last chance. Like, other than that, it's broken, and I will put that save down and just consider it lost.
Yeah.
Because there are some things that you want to do to 100% Banjo-Kazooie that I don't know, is the point of it for me. That's what I like doing, is 100%ing that game. So
Yeah.
missing a Jiggy, which is arguably one of the worst things to be missing on a completionist run, which is like, it's like doing a 120 Mario 64 run with getting 119 because one of them's bugged. Like it's just not.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They're the stars. Like they're they're the things you really want to collect. Um, so there's that, and then also I picked up Bravely Default 2, and I barely started it. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, it wouldn't normally be my type of game, but after I finished Arceus, I was just like, I have nothing to play on Switch at the moment, so I need something. And
So you pity bought?
no, it was more like an impulse buy.
Mm. Even our resident Bravely Default fan, Brian, did not like that game, and I was like, really? But he
I
like jumped
didn't.
ship on it.
I didn't hear. I didn't hear that he didn't like it,
All
or
right.
I don't remember.
Well,
Um,
we'll see how you like it.
Not so much so far because I started it and then I bought Ziggurat on the Switch and started playing it, even though I've been playing it on PC for like 2 weeks. So
Wow.
we'll see. But yeah, so what we're going to be talking about is getting back into a busted game, which a little bit we talked with Jacob and Cyberpunk getting into. And then I busted my own Banjo-Kazooie save, so that's not really a busted game. I just think that something got messed up with the save state kind of thing in the Nintendo Switch sort of emulation stuff. First time I've ever encountered that too. I've never seen a bug like that in Banjo-Kazooie, and I don't know if it's because of the Switch stuff or just a condition I met in the game itself. But
Yeah.
anyways, so to lead off the topic, why don't you just go ahead and start talking about the game that inspired you, Cyberpunk?
Yeah, man. So this week, Cyberpunk, I know they have been doing a next gen update, and they basically said, "Hey, we're going to do this next gen update." They delayed it a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Rumors were out that it was going to get completed after the Witcher 3's next gen update, which, by the way, I'm still waiting on that too. So I never played Witcher 3, so I was like, I'm just going to wait on it.
Mm-hmm.
But they shadow dropped it. I picked it up. Well, actually, I picked it back up at Best Buy for $10. So I was like, I literally just sat on it. Everybody knows Cyberpunk 2077 was basically one of the biggest failures of the decade so far. Like it was.
I don't know. I think Fallout 76 is a big contender with that.
Well, it came out in 2020 though. That's the thing. So it's new decade.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Okay. Yeah, if you
yeah,
count it from 2020. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So
And
new decade and Cyberpunk basically was like, "Hey, we're the big failure point. Beat us." The game flopped. They were giving refunds back. They stopped selling it on the PS4 store. Like everybody knows, this game absolutely, utterly, terribly flopped. The developers apologized over and over, and then Best Buy was selling it for $10 with the steelbook case. I was like, I'm buying, and I'll invest and wait.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I just haven't started it yet because
So,
I like
sorry, go
collecting
ahead.
steelbooks.
Yeah,
I've even got Doom Eternal, but I have not started that one yet. So
Mm-hmm.
It's in the pipes.
I'd definitely start that before Cyberpunk, 100%. You'll enjoy it.
Oh, of course, I know. I don't
Mm-mm.
know how I haven't played a Doom game and I have Game Pass and like all the Doom games are on there that can
Start,
ever be played right now.
no, I'm serious, Jacob. You need to do this. You know what? I'm going to be like, we're going to do a bickering bonus where we all play Doom, and you're going to have to play Doom 2016 because I highly suggest that you play Doom 2016, then Eternal, and then you get into the ancient gods expansions
Mm.
because not only are they great games, they're hard, really hard, like ridiculously hard. Ace, were you on stream when I did the couple of times? Dude, I was
Yeah.
sweating bullets. I'm physically sweating trying to finish Ancient Gods Part 1. Like,
Um, harder than. Oh no, you played Jedi on the normal or easy difficulty?
I played it on easy, remember? I played it on
Oh,
easy because I was like,
okay.
because I was for whatever reason I was in this mood. I was like, I'm fed up with games being super hard for no reason, and I'm just gonna go easy. I don't remember what my reasoning was for Jedi at the time, um, but I also did. If you remember, I did that with No More Heroes as well because I was like, combat's
Mm,
shitty. I don't want to deal with it.
yeah. Okay. So that was my litmus test. Ghost Runner wasn't too hard. I
Mm-mm.
don't know. Ghost Runner is probably the pace of Doom though, because it's just like everything is just so snappy fast. Yeah, so I don't have a comparison then. Never mind. I just have to play it.
It's legitimately the most difficult execution wise I've done something
Okay.
like.
I've beaten Super Meat
Uh,
Boy and
take
Thousand
on
One Spikes, but
take on take on fucking Dread mode. Metroid
right.
Dread. Tell me how much you like the game after that.
I like my hair. Thank you.
Mm-mm.
Uh,
Dude, that's not even. Dude, I heard about. I saw that on the direct, like no hit dread mode, and I was just like, no, no, I can't even get past some of the emnies without taking a hit. Like, no.
Hmm.
Nintendo is also a part of the inspiration for this topic as well, right? While we're taking a small aside, because they
Mm-mm.
like to release games and then later be like, "Hey, here's a quality of life update." A couple of months later, after you may have already beaten the game. Uh,
I legitimately have no examples of this in my brain.
I
What
mean,
is it?
Mario. They did. I'm pretty sure they did it to Mario Tennis. Fire Emblem doesn't count because it was paid DLC. Metroid Dread, Arms.
I
I can't
have
remember all of the
I
games.
have owned and played all these games. I didn't. What was the quality of life update for tennis?
Animal Crossing, and some of it was seasonal. Most of it, Animal Crossing can get away with it because it didn't. It made sense. I'm trying to see. Um,
I don't know. I didn't.
the
I didn't get into tennis when it came out because I mean, if you remember, that was like mid 2018. That was the height of me going through the divorce. So it was one of
yeah,
the games that just sort of fell by the wayside. I just have it. I played it. I did stuff in it. I don't think I ever finished anything in it at all. Might have to go back to it at some point, but yeah, I don't know. So okay, so Cyberpunk, back where we
yep.
were.
Swinging back. So yeah, Cyberpunk. I think it was Wednesday, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So pick up. Take out my dust off my copy, start playing, and I'm like, huh. Now, for the record, though, I will admit, they definitely overpromised. Like a lot of the things that they promised were going to happen, that it wasn't. It's not even going to happen. So I always, if
Oh,
you overpromise, I automatically take
one
a point
hundred
off.
percent. I've talked about this a couple times on the show here, where they were talking about how like, oh, we're gonna do this, this, and this, and the whole time I was like, nope, I don't care if you're the Witcher people. I really don't care. You're way over promising this. This is like to
Yeah.
me, before this even came out, this was I had red flags already going up. And I was telling this to Pan, one of our co-hosts at the time. I was just like, nope, this isn't looking good. Like I'm not on board.
Yeah, it was up there with was it Peter Molyneux from Fable 3, up there with the No Man's Sky crew, where they're just like giving us the promising us the freaking
Well,
universe, and then it's like, oh, by the way, never mind,
well,
never mind.
with Fable, we already had that disappointment a couple times, so you already knew it was going to be bad when Fable
But
3
he
hit.
tripled down, champ.
I
He
know.
tripled down.
You had evidence, right? So people were already skeptical. With No Man's Sky, right? They were brand new.
Mhm.
No experience to go off of at all.
Yeah,
And then in this
yeah,
case, it's like, but they did The Witcher 3. You don't understand. It's like one of the best games of this console's generation.
yep.
Like, you know, like so
Hundreds of
everyone,
hours.
like you don't understand. This is like the best developer taking on this. We're fine. Everything's golden. And then like all of the Overwatch stuff came out, like
Yeah,
the crunch time stuff, and
yeah. That was the first thing that broke down. I was like, we're not going to do crunch. By the way, guys, hey, crunch, it's happening. Get ready for it. It's like, what?
yeah, and then like the delays, and then all this promising of like, hey, you can do this, this, and this, and this, and I'm like, if you just advertise it as Witcher 3 in Cyberpunk Town, I think we would
Yeah.
have been fine. Like, I
They,
think. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
That was basically it. It's just like, you could have just done that and set like some sort of expectation.
Yeah, I think they should have at least gone the Starfield route. Where like Starfield is coming out, and they're just like, Starfield. Like, what is it? Starfield. What's gonna be in it? Starfield.
They literally have been saying Skyrim in space is what they've
That's
been
it.
saying. Yeah.
But I don't know what that means. I really don't.
It
Like we're talking
means
outer world, Skyrim in
it
space.
means that we are no longer getting arrows to the knees, we're getting blasters to the knees.
Ah, okay. Starfield. Ace, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the lesson learned here by them and Bethesda, with their 16 times the detail that they were claiming in their press announcement
Oh,
for
geez,
76.
76.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
the map is de-rendering right in front of you. Is to just like go with like basics. This is what we're envisioning. We're gonna try to get there and enhance it as best as we can, and make sure that it functions. Because that seems to be the bare minimum of what you need to do.
So
And sometimes they're not meaning it, and they're going way too pie in the sky with what they want to present to people, and
this
then
is
that only leaves very little room for actually being able to follow through on it.
Yeah.
this is actually a pretty common thing in development. So as Jacob knows, our good friend Brian, big league developer in Columbus now. I used to be in that scene, and this is actually a common problem in not just video games, just any sort of like programming at all. Is you have to sell whatever you're making, right? That's just a thing. Marketing goes ham on selling it, and
Mm-hmm.
they promised like A through J, and what the developers told them was like A through E, like,
Yeah,
and like,
yeah. They need to like rein it back, advertise what is good with the game and what works,
right,
because like I feel like they're too often advertising what they want to do before they've even developed the possibility to do that thing.
yeah,
Like
they're not advertising
we're
the product, they're advertising the idea. Yeah,
we're going to have this, but we haven't developed the programming for it. And once we do, we don't know if it's going to be stable enough to function in world, but we're going to have it. I guarantee we're going to have it.
oh jeez. So
Yeah.
So the premise
So
is what made you go to this game, Jacob? So like we knew Cyberpunk was busted, but what was the
yeah.
breaking point?
Um. Well, the thing I was just waiting for was a price had to line up, which I got it for $10 at Best Buy. You kind of can't beat that.
No. I,
B, full stop though. I love the cyberpunk setting in video games. The first game that I played with this, um, it's cyberpunk slash a digital setting. I'll say that. So first game I played with this was Deus Ex.
mhm.
I think it was Human Revolution was the first one. Whatever the one was on PS3, and then I played the second one. Watch Dogs falls into that category. So the setting where you can just like interact with the environment, hack, cyberpunk setting, I'm all in, like 100%. Love the setting. So those two things already. But the thing that tipped it over the point was obviously just waiting to see if it worked.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously taking the chance because they, again, like as Cham said, I saw what they did with The Witcher 3. So
Yeah.
even though I never played The Witcher 3, The Witcher 3 is one of the greatest games of our time. Period. Hands down. So it's like, hey, they got to fix something. So once it went on sale for $10, like I'm gonna give it a chance and try it day one. My litmus test for if a game is really as good as I think it is my spouse. I give it to her, and if she plays it and is like, yeah, this game is great, and spoiler alert, she basically has not stopped playing it since Wednesday.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's really the litmus
That's
test before I'm
why
like,
that's
okay,
why we aren't playing Lost Ark together. I got it. I got it.
hey, it's the aiming though. It's the air. I gave it the
I just
great I
I
multiple days.
I know, I'm joking.
Okay, just like making sure you know. I did. I gave it. I tried it. It's not happening, but I did it. But yeah, so that's really what made it hit the breaking point for me. It
Hmm.
was, cheap and something that if it worked halfway right, I'm not going into it with, oh, here's all the things that they promised. Like that's not. I already know they're never going to hit that. It's just, hey, let me just go see what the game is at a decent price point and check it out.
Sure.
Yeah. It was weird for me watching like this whole thing take place because I'd initially had it pre-ordered at GameStop, and then for whatever reason I was like, I'll cancel it.
Thing.
Like not even like having any of the news or any idea what was going on with it. I was just like, eh, I don't know much about the game, and I'll just wait and see see how it does around launch or after, and blah 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 blah. So then like cut to when they start advertising for it more and more when it's getting ready to launch and stuff, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is interesting. Maybe I should get it when it launches, and but I never did. I just sort of held off, and
Hmm.
then as we know, everything that happened, and then we got a entire Bible's worth of patch notes,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
then more and more patch
Dude,
notes.
I have never seen so many patch notes outside of the recent Diablo 2 update one. Like,
Right,
oh
like
my
that
gosh.
first one. I think that first one, because when did the game come out? Was it 2020?
Yeah, I think it was 2020.
It's like December.
Yeah, because I think it was when I started my new job, or right, or actually no, it was just before I left my old job. Um, and I like pulled in one of my coworkers because he's also into video games, and I was like, dude, look at this list of patch notes. And I just like scrolled with the wheel on the mouse for like a solid 2 or 3 minutes,
Wow.
like
Hmm.
not even stopping, just like going. And I'm just like, I've never seen anything like this before. This is bad. Like, I don't know why they released the game in this condition, but they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No,
And
and
like,
what they're running up against, I assume, is, oh my gosh, I didn't realize my mic just sort of drifted off to the side. Um, I'm gonna use the pop guard to keep it in place instead of use the pop guard. There we go. Anyways, so the whole I'm trying to think where I was. I totally got sidetracked by that mic problem. Cyberpunk. coming
The
out.
whole storyline around launch
Well, there's that, and it was like
or
the
course of
gigantic
events.
the gigantic patch notes too, like stuff like that where it just wasn't ready. And I think what they did is they pushed it. Now I remember what I was going for. They pushed it out when they did because usually, and I encountered this in programming stuff. It's like we had this planned for this quarter. Period. Get it out.
Mm-hmm.
Get it done. We're not making money on it till we're selling it. So
Yep.
here you go. And then regardless of like how awesome or awful that ends up being for the developers, it's just the reality of, well, just the business that games are in. It's, make it or die kind of deal sometimes, even with
Mm-hmm.
big games. And that's a big reason why we see less creativity in games because safer picks are financially viable, whereas like the risky ones end up being, hits or miss that can bring down a studio at times. Like,
Yeah, and it definitely seems like something that contributed to this was like not only fan pressure, but by some of the articles I've read was like investor pressure too. And I'm like,
mm-hmm,
I mean, that shouldn't take so much precedence because like your studio in in some to a lot of cases is made or broken by the quality of like the games. Like you
yeah,
can you can shill out like hundreds of games a year, but it doesn't matter if like no one's buying your games. And if you don't have that sort of name recognition and that notoriety, you're not going to have like that solid player base that keeps coming back or keeps wanting to see what like your next title is going to be. So
right.
I don't know.
I
I'm kind of on this mentality too because last night we watched a documentary about Boeing and how with the 737 Maxes they kind of released them before they were ready and then hid certain aspects of the software on
mm,
that led to air disasters, and that that was a cause of their their focus on safety being a number one priority. To when they merged with McDonnell Douglas, it sort of became about profit. We're
mm,
in this to make money, not about being about safety.
right.
So it's kind of like a similar thing, but in a completely different field. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you gotta focus on quality because if you don't have quality, you're not gonna have customer base, in my opinion, at least.
Yep.
Right. And it's not even the fact that they didn't even achieve what they went out for, like feature wise. Like it was just straight up bugged and broken.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. That to me, that I think that was the thing that hurt them the most. Even if they overpromised and underdelivered, okay, like where I'm playing it at now, like if it had released right now, like okay, it's a great game. I think, but they also got caught up trying to get it on the PS4 and the Xbox One, and
Mm-hmm.
full stop. I'm playing it on a next gen system. I'm not going to play it on a PS4 or an Xbox One. Like that's not happening. So them trying to get it on those systems, it was literally unplayable.
Yeah,
Literally, like even with this update, still don't play it on the previous gen systems. Like the next gen systems are the current gen now. Like don't play it
Mm-hmm.
on a PS4, Xbox One. Don't play it on a PS4 Pro or Xbox One. Was it S or X? Don't do any of that. Like you will be doing yourself a disservice and still probably playing a buggy and broken game. Play
Right.
it on the next gen systems if you are
yeah,
lucky enough to have one.
yeah. And like they really fucking shot themselves in the foot by releasing it when they did because with it being in the state they did and everything that happened, they lost all that revenue that they could have continuously had with
Mm-hmm.
the online stores because
Oh
while it
yeah.
is sort of slowly transitioning, things are going from physical to digital, and if your game is so broken that it can't be up on the store because of the condition that it's in, then you're just losing revenue every single day, day after day. So
Yep.
like, because what now I've seen advertisements for it. They're doing like a new beta test or like a new demo for it for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S or something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right
And
on.
like it's just now coming back, and it lost all that time. It's been what, like at least 6 months, I think,
Right.
or
6 months.
oh no, it's been what, like it was 2020 it came out, right?
Yeah, 2020. So it's been like a year and
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah, so they've lost a lot of profit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it was unparalleled disaster for the game. I mean, there's no other way to go about it. I mean, and
Yeah,
yeah,
that
but
that's the reason. Even if we included 2020 with the previous decade, that's the reason why I think it's a worse disaster than No Man's Sky, because at least No Man's Sky was playable. Wasn't good, but it was playable.
right.
Cyberpunk,
Yeah.
for a lot of people, was not playable at launch. And even if you had a next gen system, it still was wonky. Like they literally had to rework
Well,
AI.
let's not even ignore the fact that getting a hold of a current gen system isn't even. We've talked about this on this podcast several times. I went through a lot of hoops to get my PS5 last year. A
Yeah.
lot. So much so that I've been going through the same hoops since to try to get Chauncey's, and he only got his a month ago. So,
Mm-hmm.
and this thankfully the Xbox giant trash can / mini fridge is actually a little more readily available.
No, it's not. Don't you tell that lie. It is
Oh,
not.
okay.
I passed
No,
up multiple
Series,
PS5s
Series
on my.
S. The Series
That's-
S by far and away is way more
That doesn't count.
accessible.
That doesn't count in my opinion.
I know.
Okay. Conversely, Jacob, the local game store that we tried to get the PS5 from have seen
Mhm.
6 Series X come and pass through them. They've seen 3, including the one they got at launch, PS5.
I think that's a distribution issue though, because you didn't at the same place where they messed up your pre-order for was it Monster Hunter
Yeah.
for your yeah. I think that's a distribution issue. When I in Columbus, I passed up multiple PS5s on my 3-month quest for an Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
We'll see. And I don't know if you guys saw it recently, but it just happened. Like I think this week, PlayStation announced they're doing the treat codes thing, where a code to enter to win a free PS5 can pop up fucking anywhere. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me that you're not gonna fix your distribution issues, you're not gonna fix your website issues, you're not gonna hold other retailers accountable for their practices of selling the consoles. Instead, you're going to put 14 codes out there randomly and tell people to go scour your sites, your social media pages, everything for fucking codes with no guarantee that they'll still work by the time they actually see them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in addition to the needle in the haystacking that people are doing with all these other retailers, now you're going to make them do it on your fucking site instead of just fixing the issue in the first place?
Yep.
What are you doing? That's like some corporate sadistic shit right there. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, but to Cyberpunk's detriment, the only playable versions are on these consoles that are harder to get a hold of.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's like, what are you supposed to do? It was a perfect disaster for him. That being said, I never had any interest in the game personally because of the setting and all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's just not, sci-fi is not my thing. Cyberpunk is not my thing. There's nothing like, so we talked a little bit about this, in some chat with Jacob. He's like, Cham, what's it going to take for you to play this game? And I gave him 4 reasons why he would never. I'd have to be an entirely different person. Like, I'd have to change my likes entirely because I don't even like the kind of game it is. Like, I don't even like the kind of game The Witcher is usually.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. You said that too earlier. But like, it's just the way I am. Like, I either like action stuff and I occasionally like slower RPG things. That's fine, but
Yeah.
like, My distrust and dislike for sci-fi is pretty high. So like I could legitimately mechanically like a game and like the
Hmm.
setting will kill it eventually for me. Like Outer Worlds is an example. I have Outer Worlds on PC. I was kind of enjoying it for a little bit, and then I got to a point where I was just like, I'm tired of fighting robots and weird space aliens that just look like weird space alien versions of bears and rats. So like, I'm out.
It's a
I
fantastic game, by the way.
I don't
And
think it's
praying
bad.
mantises.
I don't think it's bad at all. Honestly, I was having fun when I was playing it, but eventually the setting got to me, and I was just like, I'm done. I don't care about your space travel. Oh, like I don't even like Star Wars for the setting. I like Star Wars for the action. Like,
Yeah. Cyberpunk is at least boots on the ground. So you do have that. And then it's because of Cyberpunk for the good and the bad, there's a lot of Japanese culture infusion, I guess is the best way I can say it.
sure,
You know, you got your katanas, you got uh, one of the ability trees that you go into is literally just called cool. And that's where like your stealth, some extra speech options and ninjutsu lie.
yeah,
So
Hmm.
yeah,
it's
and that's the thing. Outer Worlds is very much like this too, where it's very much a you have like 17 different things to put stats into, and
mhm.
it's fine for a while. And Fallout also. Fallout that
I
falls
was
in.
gonna say, do you like the Fallout series?
No, I do not. I
Wow,
I straight up hated Fallout 3. Like,
man. I didn't like Fallout 3. I've tried to play Fallout 3 on 4 separate occasions. And I could never get into it. Like I even if I play for like 10, 15 hours, eventually I just peter out. But Fallout New Vegas, I think like 150 hours in that game.
yeah, I've been told
Just
New
because of the
Vegas is just
writing.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, just because of the writing and how that like the tone of the story and stuff like that.
Well,
It's
for me, I don't know. It's weird. I normally like RPGs where you get to sort of create your own character, but these
mhm.
RPGs feel hollow to me in that aspect because you're not really creating your own character. You're creating you're in order to be functional, right? You have to sort of spec into a few different ways. Are you going to be the stealthy assassin? Are you going to be the silver tongue guy who talks his way out of stuff? Are you going to be the Rambo gun and go? Like, and that's kind of like you kind of fall into these archetypes that, like, if you don't max out a few skills, you're never going to do anything, right? If you try to go like a jack of all trades or be a little more of a mixed of something, like you end up being suboptimal a lot of times in those games because you didn't specialize. You know what I mean? So like that's the sort of poor part where I drop off because like if I think about like my D&D characters, I do not play optimal D&D characters. I literally my last 5th edition character was a ranger, and anyone who's familiar with 5th edition, ranger sucks. Like, but he was like my favorite character because he was literally a mirror version and a parody of Link. His name was Nil, which is Link backwards, and he was the most social and outgoing elf ranger in the world. And he was constantly hitting on women instead of them hitting on him. Was sort of like the mirror thing. Um, I mean, he used a sword and shield and stuff and a bow, right? So he's like, there's some things that are familiar with him, but like he also I was a ranger who spec'd high into charisma over everything else.
Nice.
So like, that's the kind of stuff I like to play. Very suboptimal but fun, and like these games don't really foster that for me, and I just like I fall off on them so quick. Like the only
What
reason why,
is I mean, if I can ask a question, because
sure,
fun is always subjective, and
yeah,
I feel you on the D&D point because I currently am playing my favorite character that I'm playing in all of D&D right now is a Sun Soul monk.
mm-hmm.
Love him. He has 1 level in light cleric. But he's basically a giant warrior of light, but a bird. You know, because he's closer to the sun. Get it?
Yeah,
Anyway, so like I get it. I get playing suboptimally just to have fun. Like I play because it makes sense for my class. You know.
yeah.
But what I think I feel like you still have to choose like a specialization. Like even
You
in D and
do.
D, you kind of like, well, okay, I got the thing that's going to make the class work, and then I got the other thing that I want to do for funsies. So like even in the Fallout games, like I've always chosen like a silver tongue dude, but then normally I think I take intelligence. I think so. Normally I'm like either hacking stuff or yeah, going in computers. That's what it is, intelligence. I'm going in computers and stuff like that. And I'm kind of taking the same approach in Cyberpunk, which
Yeah.
is I'm hacking and stuff. Anything that I can electronically touch or anything that I can stealth, watch out. Like it's going to be a problem. So I want to know like what is your if you had to play your perfect version of Fallout, what would your perfect character be?
I'd be able to sneak and steal everything, right?
Okay.
But there's two caveats to that. If I'm caught, I either need to
Mm-hmm.
A, be able to fight my way out, or
Mm-hmm.
B, which is the preferable option, B, talk my way out.
Okay. Now,
Now,
the Fallout games, because it's again we got that video game
mhm,
progression. So the problem is once they see you doing anything, the fight is on. But I've always played a sneaky character, so I've never had that problem once I got caught. It's normally up. Guess time to go blasted.
yeah, and
So
I get that, but like that's what gets me about stealth games. It's like either a lot of times stealth games, it's like either you're stealthy and no one notices, or you
mhm.
lose. And I'm just not. I'm not into
Hitman's really
that.
good for that.
Um, it's either don't get caught or specify. So it's weird, but I think Skyrim actually did this the best for me because I
Okay.
did I did have my own like sort of flavor of a character. The character that I got the most into to Skyrim, I played the I don't remember what they're called. The basically the orc stand-ins. The I can't remember what they're called, but they're basically orcs. I wore heavy armor and I used a two-handed battle axe and I had healing magic. So you're thinking, okay, he's super tanky. But I also had max stealth and max archery.
Mm.
Now, Skyrim, everyone has stealth and archery. I get it. All right. I get it. But um so I would just be like stealth, and then if I got caught, you're getting a battle axe to the face. Like I just like
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed that. Like that was fun for me, but like you don't see that a lot in these kind of games, so I tend to shy away from them because it just doesn't normally click for me. Like I just don't.
Okay. So Cyberpunk does do an interesting thing that's kind of close to Skyrim. Because the only reason why Skyrim gets away with that is because they basically give you like real life. So the more you do something, the better you'll get at it, no matter
Mm-hmm.
what. Which first of all, Skyrim's system of leveling and getting attribute points is the best hands down in any RPG.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk does the same thing, but instead of giving you attribute points, I think I'm looking for, yeah, instead of giving you attribute points, they'll give you perks in the class tree. So you got attribute points in the tree. You can get obviously you can do skill points in the tree, but then there's also perk points. So if you just keep shooting up dudes all the time, or you just keep punching dudes in the face or hitting them with lead pipes, eventually you're going to get enough perks in the skill because you just keep using the thing, which is really nice. So they give you like different
See,
bonuses and
that's
stuff like
that's
that or
something
extra
I.
skills.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's something I would more enjoy. The only
Okay.
problem is the setting really is a hurdle for me. Like
Do you like
anytime,
Mad Max?
not really. I mean, as far as the
Man,
setting goes, dude, sword and
Not even the
sorcery.
Fury Road Mad Max. Like I guess
I
I
was a
was like,
it was a great movie. I don't
I was
enjoy
like,
the
they have at least a
setting.
little bit of that. They have at least a little bit of that setting in Cyberpunk too. I was like, I can't help you. You're lost cause. Ace, help your boy. I don't know what to do with it.
hey, I keep telling him to watch anime, especially Demon Slayer, and he just keeps on rejecting me.
I think the only way we have to do it is we just have to like strap
I
him down, get one of them eye
Yeah,
opener,
I figured
yeah, we
out
have to
torture
Clockwork
devices.
Orange him.
I actually know what Demon Slayer is, and no, I don't want to watch it because I've seen Chauncey watch it, and it looked terrible.
Oh man,
Did you
yeah, I don't
actually
know.
watch it though, or did you
I
just
watched
see
two
like five
episodes.
minutes of it?
I watched 2 episodes with him, and they were fairly early episodes. All I know is I do like one character, and he's the pretty boy in a boar mask. That was funny.
Yeah, and Nosuke.
Sure,
You need to keep watching. He is a great character.
he sounds like it. However, I was a little just like, what is with this girl that's in a box? I don't want to know, and
That's
I
his
don't care.
sister. She's a
I
demon.
I understand.
She can manipulate her size to fit in the box because she can't go out during the daylight, so she hides in there. Otherwise, she would
See,
burn to death in the sunlight.
you've entirely lost me on interest. Just like I don't. Why? Why do we have to go through? Why is she a vampire that's not a vampire? Like she's
You
in
lost them at
demon.
the word "the." By the way, just want to let you know.
Yeah, apparently.
I just. Yeah, I'm just not. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I like the things I like, and I don't like the things I don't like. I just now I can explain the cyberpunkish kind of stuff because I don't like Star Trek, right? And I don't like this sort of like
Yeah,
half
yeah,
sci-fi stuff that a lot of things do. And I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. They're like,
yeah.
but it's universal transponder. That's why everyone speaks English in space. I'm like, fuck that. No, it's not. We didn't explain that.
They don't need to.
Like,
See, that's the good thing about that's the what's it, science fiction versus, I forget the other fantasy genre. That's it's like the because basically they don't like explain anything. It just works because it does. You know, they don't get into the like minutia of everything. Like the teleporter works, the beam me up, it just works. Just be quiet. It works. You know?
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't really need to know that stuff, honestly, but it's just not, I don't know. And as primarily a video game person, like I prefer to play a video game over any sort of other media, watching a movie or anything. I had to like I do.
So play the anime. Play the Demon Slayer game if you don't want to watch the anime.
Then play the Demon Slayer game. You know what? Yeah, play the Naruto game, champ. Yeah.
I watched all 5 of the first original Naruto's. They're terrible.
You said all 5 of the first original Naruto. What did you talk about, man?
The
You mean the
5
episodes? You watched 5 episodes?
5 seasons, the original 5 seasons.
I don't go by seasons. I don't get why American companies want to do that. It's just episodes. I don't get it.
What else am I
episode
supposed
you
to
on?
do?
What episode are you on? That's how I know. They ask me, what episode are you on? I'm like, oh, I got you. I
They
just
were
passed
still
One Piece
kids.
episode 1,000. All right, that's how I know.
They
There you
were
go.
still. I don't have an episode. They split it up by season, so like it was on Netflix.
I think they just do that to make it a little easier to find stuff. Funimation does that too. I feel
Yeah,
like they should
or-
at least change it each time the OP changes. They should name the OP.
Okay.
Like the new opening
See,
song.
this is that we're into an anime realm, which I don't understand because nothing I
Sorry.
watch is like that. Like,
Yeah, we did get really sidetracked. But if you're listening this long, because it's like we're past like an hour now. If you listen this long, you're going to be here. So
no, I'm
Take
not
that.
against going down the sidetrack, like talking about anime, because like it is a thing that most people expect me to like, being a super huge Monster Hunter fan. But I'm like, it's just not there. Like it wasn't there for me. My first experience with anime is no kidding in college. It just wasn't like. Now I will say I didn't count Dragon Ball Z because that to me that was just a cartoon. That was just a cartoon I enjoyed. I wasn't part of like an anime fan base. I was like, DBZ, awesome. Like we watched it on Cartoon Network. Like it was nothing to me.
Yeah.
So then
Right.
I figure out
You
it's
were
part of this
incepted.
like it's part of this really weird offset of TV watching that I didn't know about when I got into college, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I will say there are some detriments to anime not in its favor based on the people who were into it at the time. Now, Jacob, my distrust for Larson, but he was the biggest example of anime, and he was the guy that would like steal my hat and poke me out of nowhere. Like, I was just like, why are
Okay.
you like this? And he's like, because it's funny. And I'm like, no, it's not. Leave me alone. You're a fucking adult. All right? Stop it. And
I thought you were going to name Austin because
Mm-mm.
our buddy Austin is super eclectic when it comes to anime. So he'll be like, "Hey, I want to give you this anime that you've never heard about that most people don't watch, but it's really good." And you'd be like, "What is this?" Like he almost turned me off the anime because I was like, "What are we watching right now?" So, but the
Yeah, I mean,
listen, go ahead.
there's definitely hit or miss ones out there too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's the obvious fan service ones for like when you're in your teenage years and stuff like that. But like,
Sure.
I mean, I've grown more away from that type into finding like specific
Quality.
ones that I like, and I gave Demon Slayer a chance because it was on Netflix, and I kept every time I'd finish something, I would get another advertisement for it, and I was like, you know what, fine, I'll watch it, and it ended up being a really good anime that I like, and
I'm
I've
glad
kept
you.
up with it, and I got a manga reading app, and I went and blitzed the series after watching like the first two episodes of season two because I was just like, I can't deal with like these constant cliffhangers. I just need to fucking know.
Sure.
I
Yeah,
need to know everything. So I went and read the entire series. So
Whereas
now I know, and I'm excited to see where everything goes.
my favorite TV show is an animation, but it's called. They actually call. They've labeled it American anime, which is
Hmm.
Gendy Tartakovsky's work, Primal.
Hmm.
hmm.
And Primal's amazing. I love it. There's so many cool things about Primal. And I'm not discounting anime as a genre. I just normally don't like a lot of that stuff because of mostly the high school stuff, like the high school trope stuff that you talked about not being away from. Like that's what I see most of the time when people are like, "Dude, this is my favorite anime. You got to see this." And I'm like, "Why are there 7 girls like all fawning for this one guy?" I can't relate.
Hey,
I can't relate.
listen,
Single for 3 years.
listen.
Can't relate.
So, this is what I'll say. It, me and Ashley did an entire show about this, and it is if you want to get into anime, you need to find what shows that you like, and then from there, take the shows that you like, and then find anime like those shows. I would say you're not a shonen person at all. Like One Piece, Naruto, DBZ, My
I
Hero
love
Academia.
I love
Demon
DBZ and I love One Punch, and that's it.
One Punch is not a shonen.
Isn't it making fun of them?
It is. It's a satire making fun of shonens, which
Okay.
you would probably appreciate. But I would say, so if you like comedy, there's a ton of comedy, and even some that don't have to like. Obviously, the school trope is very common. Like because we talked about that too. Like they'll age up middle schoolers and teenagers to appear like they're adults, and they'll give them adult problems. But you have to. There's also anime that doesn't deal with school at all. It just deals with adults. Like there's literally a whole one about somebody who drops out of work and all she does is play an MMO all day. That's probably one of my favorite ones. I don't remember what it's called.
Mm.
It's like the wonderful recommendation of a virtual life. She becomes a neat.
Yeah.
But so you have to literally like see what you like in TV, and then from there, like if you gave me like a top 5 list of your favorite TV shows of all time, I could probably give you like 2 anime to try
Uh
from there.
okay, so Primal
Okay,
would
we
be
got Primal. Hold on, I'm gonna take this list down. Primal,
Chuck.
Chucked.
No, Chuck.
Oh, Chuck.
CHUCK. Chuck.
I think that's on my list of things to watch. That's on HBO. That's on HBO Max. Yes, that is on my list of things to watch.
Yeah, it's got Zachary Levi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay,
Um
Chuck.
The Good Place.
Okay, I get with you. What else you got?
I've been really enjoying Criminal Minds lately,
Sure, put it in there.
and Blue Bloods.
Mm, 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 Okay, I got one. Because
Okay.
you said you don't like the school. You don't like the school stuff.
No.
So the one that I can recommend off the top of my head, I'd have to go look for some other ones. I'm not even going to tell you to watch Death Note. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, you like these? Watch Death Note." I'm going to tell you to watch Death Note. I'm going to tell you to watch Psychopaths.
I've heard of this one. Yeah.
Psychopaths. It's did you ever like what's the movie where I literally said this on this show. I'm so
Minority
glad I'm doing
Report.
it again. Yes.
You just had to do
Basically,
this. You just did this, and I knew what you were
I was
doing.
like, oh man. Yep. So basically imagine like cops have that power, but it's like listed on their gun. So it's not all the way full futuresque test, but it's like basically imagine like maybe 20 years in the future instead of like 200 years in the future.
Yeah.
So they have like a technology on their gun, and basically based on they can read somebody's psychopaths, which is basically their psychic, their current mental state, and basically how likely they are to commit a crime is how much lethal force is authorized to be used.
Mm.
And so, and I'll spoil just a small thing. Basically, it goes into what happens when somebody is able to circumvent the entire psychopath system.
Mm.
So these cops are trying to catch them.
And they're
That's
way
Yeah,
dangerous. Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw the HBO series The Watchmen, but they had something kind of similar with the police in that universe where their guns weren't holstered to their hips. It was like in a lock cartridge or like a lock sheath in their car, and they had to like radio into dispatch to be able to get it unlocked to take it out to use it.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah, it's very similar to that, except the AI completely analyzed. So
Right.
they'll literally point it at somebody and they're like, psychopaths at orange. And then, or it's not orange, whatever the level is. They're like, stun force initiated. And then the one time they meet somebody that's like super unhinged, like what happens to him, I was like, holy crap. So
He's just a
that's the one that I can recommend. Yeah, that's the one I can recommend off the top of the dome. There probably are a couple other ones that I could recommend, but that's the one that I'm like, that one right there.
So that being said, that's part of the reason why I don't get into to Cyberpunk is some of their stuff with anime. I just don't. It's weird. I just
Yeah.
our good buddy Matt was always telling me that like you like the strangest stuff and you like it super hard and I don't understand, but good for you.
I don't know if you seen it came out recently. We're All Dead, the South Korean zombie TV show on Netflix. It's like a cross between Train to Busan and
Didn't
I
you
would
talk
say
about
High
this
School
last
of the
week?
Dead. Maybe,
Yeah.
but I mean, talking to him now.
No. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying that I'm trying to remember for myself.
Yeah, it reminds me of like a cross between Train to Busan because they literally mention it in that they have a character be like, "It's Train to Busan."
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it reminds me of High School of the Dead, except without any of the unnecessary fan service in that.
Sure.
Because, like I said,
High
some of
school.
it is like
Yeah.
teenage boy territory. So that was one that I watched, and like, not even lying, they had a ridiculous ass boob matrix scene where a character shoots a rifle, and you track the round in slow motion as it travels, and a female character's boobs like swish perfectly around it as it like whizzes past her, and I'm like,
Oh man.
like teenage me was like weird, but I'm into it, and now I'm just like, what the fuck? Why would they do that? That is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. That is so funny. So before we go way off track, I don't have a lot to say about Cyberpunk on this, but I have a game that I keep wanting to go back to that is still broken as shit, and I am hoping that one day they fix it, but its time is running out, and that is Wolcen, and so I'm a huge Diablo fan. I've talked about this several times. It is legit. A Diablo clone game is legit my favorite, absolute favorite genre. Like, as much as I love Monster Hunter, I have zero interest in Dauntless, God Eater, any of those other Monster Hunter genre games because it just doesn't. I like Monster Hunter not for. I mean, I love it for the gameplay and stuff, but there's so much more about specifically Monster Hunter about over those other things because God Eater is like Monster Hunter, but purposeful anime. It feels like we're gonna slay demons and that kind of stuff. What's the
Good things about God Eater. Dauntless to me is just Monster Hunter light.
yeah?
Like
And there's
Yeah, I can see
another
that.
if you don't want anything any of the things that make Monster Hunter, just play Dauntless.
yeah. So like being a huge Monster Hunter fan, I'm not really into the larger genre. I'm just specifically into Monster Hunter. Whereas
Mhm.
Diablo, I'm into the larger genre of what makes a
Okay.
Diablo game, and partially it's just the gameplay, but also specifically, I will always be on Diablo. But Wolcen is a Diablo clone, and it is in that same genre. It is not MMO based. It was supposed to be a big release in 2020. Before we knew about all the virus and stuff, it still came out. It is a large reason. It was not a large reason. No, it is because I built this PC for the podcast. It is a large reason why I updated this PC, but then um, updated this PC as far as like replacing, getting new video cards and stuff to actually be able to run games better, to actually run this game better. And I kid you not, I loved this game leveling up and going through it. Chance and I were playing it. It's great. It's got a cool loot system. It's got a cool battle system. It's got this really cool system where think of Diablo. You've got mana for skills. Even Lost Ark does this. You have mana, you spend it on a skill, it recharges over a certain amount of time. Yada yada. Pretty simple
Yep.
mechanic. This has rage and willpower, and skills can produce rage. You start off with 0 rage and all willpower. Think of willpower as sort of mana. So like you spend willpower to create rage, and you spend rage to create willpower. So it's a sliding scale of your
Mhm.
resource. And skills will have to use X amount of that resource, but they will generate the other resource. So you will go back and forth, back and forth. And you can even do a full rage character, which will try to stay fully on the rage side, or a full willpower, which will try to stay fully over here. So it makes it sort of like a standard resource management. But then there were classes that purposely wavered the line back and forth, and all the classes do this. It was actually really, really cool.
Mhm.
Chauncey had a build that wanted them perfectly in the middle. He got bonuses for having them perfectly in the middle between rage and willpower.
Okay. I like when games do mechanics like that.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy 14, I think there's a couple classes in Lost Ark that kind of have that kind of a mechanic where you have like two different resources that you're
yeah.
like,
And
yeah.
Diablo 3 and on seems to have their own unique resource per class, which I think is cool too.
Mhm.
But this here's the problem though. This game
Okay.
came out as a just a bug shit pile. Like everything
Oh
was a
no.
bug. This whole build
The
that
game
he
was a
went
bug.
the whole thing that Chauncey went for, it's in the skill tree. He got to it. It was really cool. It's got this really if you're familiar with skill trees, it's got this rotating skill tree that is true for everyone. So you pick a node and you can rotate outer rings and connect new stuff and connect things. So you can actually sort of customize your skills a little bit that way. This whole thing he went through, the penultimate skill of his build, straight up didn't work. Nothing worked for it. It didn't happen. This whole thing that he went for, the whole between the two resources and getting like
Mm-hmm.
like a 150% damage bonus when he was in that state, straight
Yeah.
up didn't work. It's
Wow.
just the bug was doesn't work. Like nothing
Wow.
happens. Um, you could crash out of the game constantly. Like you would crash. And now, while we were leveling up, this wasn't a problem. But once we got an end game and you're doing end game dungeons where you're like, okay, I'll risk and go another level. I'll go another level. And if you quit out or lose, you'll lose everything. Or you lose all your time spent. It
Wow.
would crash. I don't think I have finished an end game run more than 3 times. Probably attempting over 30.
Mhm.
Then So it was such a buggy mess that there was a lot of hype for this game in sort of like the Diablo sort of fan base kind of area, the ARPG genre.
Hmm.
There was such a hype that when it bombed this bad, there was a mass exodus, and I mean mass exodus, to from this game to boosting to boosting either Grinding Gears game, Path of Exile, or other people went to Grim Dawn. And Grim
Okay.
Dawn was
Okay.
sort of like a languishing game. Grim Dawn has had an expansion or two since this happened because they got a revitalization from this game bombing. Like it's
It,
it's
I was going to say that sounds like what happened to Forza Horizon 5, which was like one of my games of the year last year. Like
yeah.
they basically, once you started getting to like certain content was just so buggy and broken, and instead of fixing those issues, they're like, we're going to fix this instead. And basically, more people are playing Forza Horizon 4 right now than
Then
Forza
five.
Horizon 5.
Well, they went to an
Like,
entirely different series, different game, because Wolcen was a brand new game from a new
yeah.
developer. So like they went to like and I've talked about Titan Quest quite a bit, but the original people who made Titan Quest went on to make Grim
Mhm.
Dawn. So those are the people. So they're experienced ARPG developers. I don't like Grim Dawn. Again, it's a setting thing for me. The gameplay works just fine. I've played through a couple characters all the way to the end. I just can't sort of get into it, and unfortunately, I can't even get to the newest expansion for Titan Quest because it just takes so long to make a character to get that far. And I just don't have the
Mm.
time or care to, even though I love the game, but I've played it for thousands of hours. It just doesn't feel that new. Um,
Mhm.
so like this game was like supposed to be like, okay, Diablo 3 is good, but I'm done with it. I have put thousands of hours into it. I'm ready for Diablo 4. Diablo 4 is not for a long time. So here's Wolcen. And Wolcen just sort of like shit the bed. And it came back with a giant patch. And we're not talking like Cyberpunk level of patch, but pretty decent size patch. Biggest that Wolcen's had. And it was like, hey, we fixed a lot of this stuff. I went in, I tried to do 3 endgame dungeons with my character that was already max level since this patch. Still didn't get through any of those dungeons without it crashing. And then I
Man,
put it down. And I was just
the
like,
game's been out since 2020.
mm-hmm. And
Sheesh.
I've tried not several, but a couple times. The only thing that stopped me from doing it again was Lost Ark coming out. Because I was just
Wow.
been itching for that kind of game because I just love that kind of game. And Lost Ark is sort of filling that, but I don't think because it's so much MMO focused over the RPG focus that I'm just, you know, it's different. You know what I mean? Like when you
Mm.
have an MMO focus on such a thing, like the easiest comparison is WoW versus Diablo. Diablo and WoW, you're doing essentially the same thing. Do this difficult fight, try to get loot from the boss. There you go, right?
Yeah.
However,
So,
in WoW, you're getting basically trash loot until you get that one piece, right? But
mhm.
it's like in a list, and then you might have to fight other people for that drop. And you have to coordinate with other people to do this content because it is an MMO, right? Whereas Diablo, I'm like, fuck all y'all. I'm gonna go do it myself and do it like 15 times and see if I get the drop that I want. And oh, also by the way, I got like 72 other items that are gonna give me money or some other resource that I can
Mm.
probably do something with in the meantime. So that's the problem I feel I'm going to have in Lost Ark is this like there's just I'm going to run out of shit I care to do because that's the way that MMO works for me. Whereas a Diablo game I can continue to do the content continuously and
so,
optimize.
so here's my question. So,
Hmm.
say obviously you're done with Wilson, you literally can't play it. So, say a year from now, they finally drop the patch, like patch 2.0, and it's actually fixed. You've seen other people playing it on YouTube, but you have like a good 175, 200 hours in Lost Ark. New content is dropped. You're playing. You love the classes. What would make you go back to Wilson at that point?
It just being fixed.
That for real.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, so
not.
that's like me with Cyberpunk then.
Yeah,
This is like, oh, I love this game, this genre, this setting. I'm
yeah,
in.
and I'm not kidding. Like, it's actually really good. Like, it's a super good game. But like, it was good on launch. But like, the problem is it just kept bugging out. Like,
Okay. Okay. Now, Ace, have
mm,
you like jumped into any? Obviously, I know you got Cyberpunk in the wings, but have you jumped into anything that was like, I'm talking busted? The only other game that I've done this for, actually, I have two: Final Fantasy 14, Realm Reborn, which was literally Realm Reborn was their big 2.0, and then Assassin's Creed Unity, like 6 years, 7, 10 years, I don't know how long later. I literally played it
So,
last year.
so I will say officially no, because for a lot of like these games that I'm not like 100% invested in, but I'm just like interested in, I
Hmm.
will usually wait until they come out and launch and then give it like a week or two if I'm really interested before I get it.
Okay.
Um, Although I will say, technically, in a non traditional sense of the term busted, I will say yes because I got Star Wars Battlefront 2 at launch, and
That counts.
that was
no, that
that was a whole
100%
bunch of
counts.
fuckery.
Yeah, no,
That
that's
was
busted for a different reason. But yes.
Yeah, but still
that
busted. I
was
mean, yeah, still busted. Counts.
that was $80 that I might as well have just like thrown in a frying pan with butter and just eaten with a fork and knife, and it would have been just as satisfying, probably.
Okay, so uh, now we did talk a little bit about this on the side, Chan, but this does lead us to the broken games at launch and giant day one patches.
Hmm.
I personally have a giant. I know other people have a problem with them. Because for people that have like low to zero internet, you're already alienating them from being able to play a true game. But on top of that, they're basically shipping. They already know that they're shipping it, and it's common practice at this point to ship us games with the day one patch, and knowing that more patches and hot fixes are incoming. So it affects the reviews of the game that we're seeing. I know when we played Jurassic World Evolution 2 for the show, and I went back and just to check, I was really liking the game, and I'm this real time is not my genre at all.
Hmm.
But I was like, let me just see what the reviews, and the reviews were just low, and I was like, and it was just like bugs, 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 bugs.
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating to not have it be like the good old days where you can just put the game into the system
Hmm.
and it just fires up. I wish they would have like a way where you could like verify your pre-order receipt so that you could have like all this stuff preloaded
Oh
onto
yeah.
your system,
Hmm.
but then like the putting the disc into the system is like the switch that activates it that makes
Yeah.
it playable, because it's been a pain in the ass to get like a game that you're waiting for and then up 4 hours. Good
Oh,
luck.
dude.
Yeah.
Have fun.
When Mortal Kombat was it X released, I was like, I went to the midnight release, got it, got
Hmm.
home, stuck it in, 4 hour update, and I'm like,
All
Yeah.
right, I'll go sleep.
Um, I am mostly digital these days, but it even affects the digital games now too. I
yeah,
can't remember what game it was on Xbox that came out. Something came out last year, and I had literally just been waiting for it to come out. And the day it dropped, it's like, yep, now we're going to update you. And I was like, y'all couldn't have done
Yeah,
this before, right now. It
yeah,
was like a good like 20 gigs
now is
and I'm
on day one.
loosely considering getting a Series S too. So we'll see.
yeah, as
Yeah.
much as I'm not for sort of like I'm very sketchy on the whole like Lost Ark sort of pay model free to play stuff because I just don't
Hmm.
normally like that kind of thing. Um, Paying the $15 for the early access really solved a lot of those problems. Because I downloaded it the day before they actually announced that you could download it early. I was like, okay,
Nice.
cool. And then I started playing on Wednesday, which was like 2 days before everyone else could. because I spent $15, which so I came into like a not busy server, which apparently it was so busy they were having problems with just the pre-order people. So,
Wow.
but I didn't have a bad experience with that, but like I actually think that was a kind of a cool way for them to do it, where they had like a soft launch with the pre-orders and then like a hard launch Friday to sort of get a good idea of what's going on. And on our server, particularly Galater, that we've been playing, there was such a problem that like I got like a free mount and a pet out of like all the stuff that happened. Like I got like super free content, and I was like, why is this happening? Because like
Right.
literally like people lost their whole characters, like high level characters on the server. I didn't experience this, so I just profited
Wow.
for nothing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was actually, if you go,
Lucky you.
it's the same server that we're on, Jacob. Like if
Yeah, I'm
you
about to
actually,
say, oh, I know. Oh, I know.
yeah, so you look
I'm
in your
logging tomorrow.
mail, you'll get like a bind to character like loot box essentially.
Sweet.
So I was just like, oh, okay. But like I kind of like how they've handled it. It's like the problem is, as much as I don't like a lot about what Lost Ark is and doing, they've handled things fairly well that I've been kind of like, all right, all right, I'm here. Like I'm not out yet. Um, but again, there's going to be a time where the MMO is going to get to me because like this happened with WoW. I like WoW in concept, but you get to that end game content and it's like, hey, I need like 38 other people to do this. Um, I'm struggling to get five to
Man.
play with me. So usually, like because of the
Yeah.
way that I play and the schedule that I have, like my work schedule is just whack in comparison to people. Because like I
Hmm.
can play. Like when can you play? I was like, well, depends if I get out of work early enough. I can play at 2 o'clock, and people are like, 2 o'clock. I don't even get out till 6, and I'm like, well, I can't go at 6 because I got D&D at 6. Like I don't. What do you want
Yeah.
me to do? Like,
I
like
am normally the same way. I play games like Borderlands by myself. But I will say Final Fantasy they very much encourage their veterans to because you can run all of your classes on one character, which I absolutely love. So you
yeah,
just literally restart. So you can run back. You can also do I think you have like a daily quest for just going into the dungeon roulette to help out lower classes. But I never had a problem doing lower level content in Final Fantasy because I always hear that about other MMOs and stuff like that where like you're trying to
sure.
find something like especially like for people I can imagine like you're trying to get into say like a Lost Ark in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like if nobody's going to be doing level 10
People
raids unless they put
people are already trying to rush to max level, and I'm like, this game's been out like a week as of
yeah
yesterday. People are already like,
yeah
no, you got to get to the end game content. Or like right now, I was like, dude, I'm still like, I'm over a week playing, and I'm level 36 or something like that. Like
yeah.
I'm
Is
not.
there any incentive for veterans to go back?
I don't know. I'm not there yet. I
I
don't.
mean, I know you can do other classes, and I think I heard like other classes can like feed into your main character or something like that. But
Yeah. Well, there's also, I have one. There's also these like boost passes or whatever.
okay,
You just click it and your character hits max level. Poof, done. Yeah, and you get one for hitting max level. So like you can just get a free alt at max level. Like just but for me I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to learn the class I'm playing as it goes. Like
yeah,
why would I ever want to do that?
they do that in Final Fantasy 14. You can literally buy a level boost, and if you're ever playing with somebody that has level boosted, it's very very apparent
Yeah, cuz
because
they have no idea
whatever
what they're
their
doing.
skill is, dude, it's the worst when it's a healer or a tank. You just know they're like scared, like a tank is running and they only pull like one monster at a time. It's like, dude, you can pull like they pull out at least a whole room. It's like, no, just one monster. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
So I personally, Wolfen is really the only game that was super busted that I just couldn't um go back to. Now, a lot of times for me, getting back into a busted game is it just being fixed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's like some games that were like itself wasn't busted, but I never got into it because I couldn't get into it because it, I whatever reason like I had it and I couldn't play it. So there was
Mm-hmm.
an old game called Pools of Radiance that was it was a D&D game where you controlled a whole party of people. And the only way I could get this thing to run was in high school to go to my dad's work and install it on one of his work computers and play it while he was at work a couple times.
Interesting.
And it actually
Well, that's
worked
cool.
and I enjoyed it. There are better games in that genre now that act the same way. Pillars of Eternity, I think, is the biggest one in that sort of genre. I own Pillars of Eternity now, and I can't get into it. Like I just feel like I missed the boat. Like I just like I liked that game as a high schooler kind of thing, and now I'm just like, yeah, it's too much story for me right now.
Okay. Question, because I had to look up some games to see
Mm-hmm.
what else has been buggy. Apparently, Fallout 4 was busted at launch. Jam, Titan Quest was buggy at launch. Is that true?
Which one?
The first one.
I never played the first one. You had to be an
Okay.
Xbox person.
Okay.
I played. I
Um,
played it. I have the first one. It is the only Xbox game I own, but I don't have an Xbox to play it.
I know New Vegas was buggy on PS3, but I remember I specifically played it on Xbox because I know I think Skyrim was having. I can't remember what game got released first, but whatever game got released first on PS3, the last game was broken basically. So I was like,
I was
I'm
gonna
gonna.
say that's that's sort of one of the things that Bethesda is known for is that their games are buggy at launch and
Mhm.
in some cases still
Yeah,
continue to
but they're
be.
never to the level of like, oh, I don't know, Wilson or Cyberpunk. Like
Right,
they're playable, right? Like
right. But they've always had that sort of that unfinished varnish job, we'll
No,
say.
Skyrim was actually broken on PS3. That was actually a thing because basically the way that they made the entire world render the game, like everything that you place down was remembered forever in the game's code or something or the game's memory. So
yeah,
eventually on the PS3, the way that it did it was actually broken at some point on PS3.
yes, I never ran into that because I don't put a lot of things down in that game. But yes, I did have the PS3 version on launch. 11 11 11.
Yeah,
I'll
nice.
always remember
Now I
that one.
played it. I played it with no issues because obviously I'm like you. But I think I might have played that on PS3 later down the road after patches.
Mm-hmm.
And it was perfect. It ran perfect. Let me see. They put Battlefield 4 on the list. I know Battlefield 2042 is one of those games that was broken at launch.
That one I just completely I was super hyped. I was telling my buddy Jared at the game stores like I want this. Tell me when it comes out. I'll get it. And then I heard nothing good, and I was like, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm
I still
not
have the
getting it.
trial downloaded on my Xbox waiting to play, and I have not started it because I'm waiting for the patch to be like, hey, this game's playable now for 2042. Oh, WWE 2K20. I forgot about that. That game was so bad. It wasn't just bad on the Switch. It was bad everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember. I think I worked at Costco when that, or not Costco, Sam's Club in
Hmm.
the electronics department selling phones at the time. Um, but my team lead had me set up 2K20 on a Xbox that we decided to open up as a demo unit. And I remember as we had one of the uh, robot games going, the cheerleaders of one of the teams spawned like in the scaffolding of the dome of the arena and like glitched on top of the roof and then
What
back
game
into
is
the
this again?
scaffolding. NBA 2K20.
That is so
It was either
weird.
2K20 or 21. It had a bad. That was like one of the
Man.
funniest glitches I'd seen because I was like, wait, are they having like a performance above the core? Oh no, it's broken. No, it's fully. They're fully like in the ceiling
Thought it was
and then on the roof.
performance.
100% broken.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was like maybe. Oh, are they playing on like a glass, like a raised like plexiglass floor or
Right.
something?
Yeah.
Nope.
So
No.
so conversely, what are some companies that you guys think when they release a game, you're just spot on, this is just going to work, no like you just trust it?
Capcom.
Oh man.
Capcom? Are you serious? Like now
No,
outside
man.
With
Street Fighter. Oh, that's
Monster
a good
Hunter.
one. Street Fighter
Monster
5.
Hunter has never steered me wrong.
No. Monster
No.
Hunter, I that's what I was going to say. Monster Hunter's been fine, but
Yeah, Monster Hunter is 5.
everything else from Capcom seems like it has problems.
As a longtime Street Fighter fan, I will tell you, Street Fighter 5 was the worst launch of a Street Fighter game, only next to Street Fighter 3. It was so bad. They didn't fix it. Once they fixed a lot of stuff, I jumped in. That was another
Yeah.
man. I forgot.
I did see with Rise that there was some connectivity issues or just running issues for people who are doing PC, but I mean that seemed to get
PC is
resolved pretty quickly thereafter.
Yeah, PC is a smattering of problems though, because you're not dealing with a set chipset or
Right.
anything. You're dealing with thousands of combinations.
Right. You're not dealing with a uniform build. It is like basically an unknown.
Mm-hmm.
I got
You're
one.
just like, I will try to make this work the best for anything and everything.
Right. Okay, I got one.
Mm-hmm.
Devolver Digital.
Sure.
They're small enough that all of their games matter. I have played a ton of Devolver Digital games,
Yeah.
and I cannot think of one that when it came out was busted or even had like game breaking glitches and bugs and stuff like
now,
that.
it's not always true, but most of the time I can trust a Nintendo game to run. Like,
Yeah, I think that's.
I don't-
Now, here's the thing. I do think they give incomplete games now, but their games definitely do run.
okay. I mean, I don't feel I've ran into a lot of incomplete games with them, aside for, well, even like Mario Golf. A lot of people complain about Mario Golf having a far less content.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm fine. I didn't even finish the content on Mario Golf, and I had a good time with it. Like, I was like, okay. I unlocked like a new area once I got everything completed, and I was like, I'm good. I don't need to do that other area.
Oh shoot. What was it? I think Mario Party was another one where they had
Sure.
like, here's the,
Yeah.
and they're like, here's the extra stuff. I was like, why'd you put that at launch?
Yeah.
Um,
So, yeah, Nintendo's
Luigi's Mansion 3. Also, it's just for me, if you're doing a free update, you just feel bad because you should have just released it at the time the game came out.
a lot of times
Like,
they
I
are
would've
they
played
are
it.
done with it though. I mean, like that's
That's
what
my point. Because I would have played it. when the game
what happened with
came out.
Luigi's Mansion 3? Because I played and beat that pretty close to launch.
I think they released like some multiplayer content and stuff like that. Basically, stuff that would have been getting with the family because that was a game that I played with my daughter. And also me and my spouse, like we co-opted it.
Yeah,
and beat it, so.
Cece and I co-opted Luigi's Mansion 3, but we just did the story. I didn't do any of the multiplayer stuff, like aside from her playing Gooigi.
Yeah, but that would have been some fun stuff to run. I'm trying to find all the Nintendo published games on the Nintendo Switch.
It's a lot.
'Cause then I can. It is, but I just want like the AAA big ones.
Like Mario Odyssey, I feel was like a 100% a complete game with no bugs.
Oh no, totally.
I didn't have any problems with either of the Hyrule Warriors on launch. Pikmin, I didn't have any problems anywhere. You know, like they do release extra content a lot of the time now, but like I don't think it's any of it's bugged. I don't think that a lot of time it's just like
I know now.
what?
Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is one for sure, not including the DLC content, not
They
including the
did have
seasonal
some,
stuff.
yeah.
it was very shout compared to other previous Animal Crossings on like handheld. Even it had less features and less in-game content out of the box. I'll
Sure.
say that. Basically, once you roll credits, hey, you want to customize your island? You know, like it kind of really pared down
I never really had
the
context
Monster
for
Hunter
that
experience.
one. The only one I ever played was the newest one, New Horizons.
Okay.
And even then,
Um,
I didn't enjoy it. Like, it's just not my kind of game. Um, I did enjoy getting the different fish and the different animals for the museum, but I didn't even finish that. That was like, oh, this is cool, but that's it. Like, so I guess it's fair to say that yeah, maybe there's more content to be had on Nintendo when they release sometimes, but like,
mhm.
I don't think that any of them are ever really that buggy. Or
Yeah, I just think they're incomplete. So like Mario Tennis. Mario Tennis is a good example because they gave like new playable characters, more story modes, different modes of play even. Um
I'm not sure that's incomplete because I had just fun of a time playing whatever was released with. Like
yeah,
I don't.
but if it's stuff that was already included in previous entries and then it's gone and then a couple of months later they're like, "Hey, free update." I'm like, "Man, you just finishing the game in the back. Like just wait." Like cuz at that point I've lost interest in the game, you know.
I mean, I
I can
my
understand that to a
problem is
certain
I lose
degree.
interest before the other content comes out, so I never do the extra content.
That's what I'm saying. So my point is, if you're releasing a game in that state, I'm not going to buy the game at launch, and then you're going to go, nobody wants this game, and then you don't make another one because it doesn't sell at launch, but you didn't give me the content I wanted at launch, so now I buy it 3 months later. You know, it's like a vicious
Now,
cycle.
the new Mario Party, a lot of people weren't complaining about that. The one that has all the
Yes,
different
we
mini
are,
games. I didn't
but it
know
only has
that.
five. Has five. It was 5 boards of out of 8 Mario parties. 5 boards. I wholly expect at the direct in like June or September for them to be like, "Hey, here's some more Mario Party stages. Heard you like Mario Party." Like,
I can't.
you
I
know,
can't have the girls play Mario Party. They'd get in fist fights with each other. I bet. Like they're just. Ooh boy, over
listen,
tennis
the
today. That was
strong,
enough. That was.
the
Ooh.
strong shall survive.
See, see, we just like get into Mario Party battles and just like fuck with each other.
They can't. They
Especially if it's
can't.
like three of us in a bot.
Dude, if they get a star stolen from them, they go ballistic. Either one of them. Either one of my daughters. They're like,
Do they do they
oh,
do the Matt scream from Game Grumps? Have you seen that before?
yes, I have. Yes, I have. And no, not to that level, but yes, I get what you're saying. Um
Pretty close to ears bleeding,
oh dude, that was
or just
today.
bleeding in general.
That was just today as they're screaming buff team as they're both Bowser and Donkey Kong trying to dunk me as like paratroopa. Like I'm just like, hey, I'm just gonna play paratroopa because I think he's kind of cool, and they're just like, buff team. They're just screaming
Paratrooper. He's a paratrooper speed archetype.
technical
Technical.
or
Ah,
tricky.
okay.
I
I
mean
love.
tricky.
Yeah, I love the tricky archetype. Boo is my favorite
Yeah.
character.
I like the speed and I like the tricky. I don't really like the power ones. Even though Bowser's like legit one of my favorite Mario characters, I'm just like, yeah, I don't really feel like now it's Smash. I 100% play Bowser in heavy characters, but like other things now. Um, yeah, I just there's not a lot of companies that you can just straight up just say, hey, this is gonna work fine at launch, like
Yeah.
100% anymore. Um, like even though you could bet on it being a quality game, a lot of the time you're just like, there's gonna be something.
Mhm.
Well, I'd say Battlefront 2 worked perfect at launch for how EA wanted it to work,
Fair,
but
Right.
for the
fair.
consumers, it definitely didn't work for the fucking consumers. I'll tell you
No,
that.
it did not. No. Oh man, that was a controversy and a half. I remember as I was listening to a lot of video game podcasts at the time. I don't listen to a lot of video game podcasts anymore, but at the time, all of them were talking about Battlefield. all of
Mhm.
them, and I was just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather them just lose the license at this point. Like finish up the
They didn't.
sequel that's in the work to Fallen Order 2 and just fully lose it because I know that they partially lost it, but
Yeah,
I'd rather
I'm just
They
happy they
lost
lost the non-exclusivity.
Yeah, they lost exclusivity.
Mhm.
I'm okay with them having competition in the license. I think that might
Yeah,
drive some innovation and or quality. Um,
right.
because
yeah.
le-
Respawn is doing great work.
Hmm.
legitimately, Fallen Order was a great game. I don't think
Oh yeah,
that
I just finished it a
yeah
couple weeks ago.
yeah I don't think that we should punish EA for the things they're doing right at this moment for like Fallen Order, but like 100% for the things they're doing wrong, like Battlefield 2, like yeah, Battlefront 2. Sorry, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, and one of my favorites, Blizzard. I mean, you can't expect any game to launch without server issues at this point.
I mean, but that's just online in general, though. Like, especially if you have a popular game
Mm.
and the wait is anticipated, like we will find a way to crash it. You know, like Lost Ark had the same problems. Um, Halo, just anything. Forza, Halo, they
So
just
there is something, Ace. I just thought of this. There is something. Um, both times that a demo hit the eShop for Monster Hunter, the eShop crashed because so many people downloading it.
mm,
So
mm.
Well,
it's not the
that's not.
game, but it's so popular it's crashing the store. Now
Yeah.
that's different. But I just thought of that because yeah, the Rise totally killed the store.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious, and I'm like, good,
Mm-hmm.
good. Let this happen more. Let them know our power, collective
I,
power.
I can't.
That's some Smash Brothers power right there.
Oh yeah,
Tell
yeah.
you,
Hmm.
every time
Right,
an update drops for Smash Brothers,
dude.
no.
I saw I put this up on the Discord. I didn't know this. Rise, Monster Hunter Rise specifically, and this is numbers before PC release, was number 7 in Capcom's all-time best-selling games.
Yep.
Number 7. Like
Hmm.
what the hell? It was a Switch exclusive and it hit 7.
For the record, I think the Switch is almost. Has it already passed the Wii? I think it. No, the Wii is most popular. Let me go look at the thing.
I
Yeah.
believe it passed the Wii U.
It
No, it passed the
I'm
Wii U within
pretty
like the
sure,
first like year or
yeah,
six
it
months.
they did
and the
they
3DS. I want to say one of. I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
seen the charts in a while.
Oh yeah, it has. It passed. It topped 100 million and passed the Wii. This is recently, February 3rd. That's February 3rd.
wow.
I'm trying to find one of the articles I saw though. They actually had like the ring. I think PS2 is like the top console ever sold. Ever, ever.
Yeah,
I'm
and
still
I don't know if you've been tracking, but 1 day and 1 hour to go.
Oh,
We got
baby.
some Capcom news coming in.
I played too many Capcom games, and I'm way too excited about this.
So wait, 1 day and 1 hour.
Yep.
Yeah, every subreddit that
They-
I'm in is excited. Monster
like if you
Hunter,
go to
Mega
their
Man.
if you go to their Twitter page, they have a link to their countdown.
Yeah,
So
I'm
we've
aware of
got
the countdown. I'm
one
just
day and 1 hour,
is that like midnight tomorrow for us?
Yeah, midnight tomorrow.
essentially. Yeah.
I
Okay.
personally am hoping for Marvel vs. Capcom 4, not Infinite 4.
Infinite had the only good character in it.
It, but they just, I don't want to talk about it. We got another half an hour. Oh. Matter of fact,
I
that's
mean,
add that to the
technically,
list. Again, Capcom fighting games lately not had good launches.
No.
It's very good
technically,
now.
we've got as long as we want to go. We've had episodes that have gone almost 3 hours before.
He's got a bedtime though.
Not tonight.
Not
tonight.
tonight? Okay.
Not tonight.
Um so yeah, I was only digging at Infinite because it's the only one that had a Monster Hunter fighter so far. which
Mm-hmm.
they should have just done. They should have just done the real answer. Just put Rathalos. Don't put the hunter in Rathalos gear. Just put Rathalos. Like
Well, they did that for Smash Bros. Ultimate,
they.
and then
He's
they
one of
didn't
those
release
weird.
anything Monster Hunter in it until they gave the armor as like a skin.
Yeah, but it's not even a fighter. It's those one of those weird assist trophy things. It's like a mini boss,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I want to see more Monster Hunter representation in Capcom collaborations because it is now their best selling series. So
Yeah, I want Lady Dimitrescu to have a baby Rathalos. Put it together, make it happen, Capcom.
what? What? Okay, I don't. That's not the direction I was hoping to go for that, but okay.
All right, I just got done. I'm a pivot. Just got done looking at those Switch numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So the Switch apparently just passed PlayStation as well, like the first OG PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
They're about give or take 10 to 15 million units out to pass surpassing PlayStation 4. After that, they'll need about 40 units to take out PlayStation 2. But in all time, the only thing that's left after PlayStation 4 is the Game Boy and Game Boy Color, which are lumped together, and the Nintendo DS family, which, as you know, the Nintendo DS cheated because they released like 7 different consoles that are in the DS family.
Yeah.
So you got your DS, your DS Lite, your DSi, you got this big DS, the little DS, the XL. Like, okay. So.
Mm-hmm. My daughter asked me to play the flippy switch today, and I was like, "What are you talking about the flippy switch?" And then I was like, she was like, "This one," and she handed me my Monster Hunter 3DS.
Well, that's what I've seen some people wanting as like a Switch Pro, and I wouldn't necessarily like say no to that because I think there were good aspects about the DS. I just wish it had another thumbstick that wasn't just a tiny gray nub that fucking irritates my thumb and makes my thumb like super fucking sore.
Dude, I want nothing to do with the 3DS anymore. Like I don't want to hold it. I don't want to open it up. I don't. I was like when Monster Hunter moved off the 3DS, I was a little surprised it was PS4 it moved off of, but I was like, okay, that's cool, but like going to consoles, I never want to go back to strict handhelds ever again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, agreed.
Like I am okay with it on the Switch. I love it on the Switch. I think it was the best idea for Rise. But boy, if there's ever a Nintendo console that's just a handheld and they say Monster Hunter on it, I'll do it. But I'll be very vocal and very unhappy.
Did we ever talk?
You're forgetting about my prediction. When Sony inevitably buys Nintendo, we're gonna get the Switch Vita.
Did we ever talk about my immeasurable disappointment when I bought a Vita and Monster Hunter was one of the franchises that never came? Because I tried to play it on the PSP and I was like, I got hand cramps trying to do the claw. I was like, I'm physically not doing this to myself. I was like, I will get the Vita and I'll see you on the Vita.
No, I got Freedom Unite and I'm playing it on there, and you can remap the buttons, so you can remap to the right thumbstick, so you can do directions.
Look,
I know. I
like,
remapped it initially to do the up and down, but then it was so sensitive that it would throw my viewpoint up and down, so I switched it to just left and right.
Yep.
It is way more playable than on the PSP. I will tell you that much.
I know my friend Jacob
it's
here.
Just how the game was.
And he will never play Freedom Unite for any amount of time. It is
nah, man. We gotta find out if those servers.
You would not play Freedom Unite for any amount of time, even if it was on Vita. Yeah,
no,
I know.
Well, if they put it on Vita with like and it was made for the Vita, I would have played it. I can tell you that. The only reason I didn't play Monster Hunter on the Wii is because I got it and then my Wii got stolen. So I was like, well, can't play it now.
Well, that's a pretty
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
and
pretty
sorry.
legit
you
circumstance.
and Brian around the same time had your stuff stolen, didn't you?
Yeah, but the difference was I couldn't prosecute just because it's very complicated. But somebody I knew was basically involved in it, and I was like, I'm not sending. They were like in high school. I was like, I'm not sending them to jail. It's like you should be ashamed of what you did. But I had the entire games library and digital games from like the WiiWare and stuff. I couldn't get back because of the way that they did it. And I was like, all right, I'm out, Nintendo. That's why I skipped the Wii U because I lost my entire digital library. So all my Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, it's gone. So
Yeesh. Speaking of digital library, because of the recent news we got, as you know, Fort, I finally caved and bought the digital version of Devil's Third for Wii U
You know,
because I don't want to have to take out a goddamn loan to get a physical copy of it.
you know what? That caused me a lot of headaches the other day. That whole discussion.
they were y'all were pushing for it hard in chat. Y'all was dusting out them Wii U's, baby. More power to you.
Cece pulled out my Wii U today, and she's like, "What's this?" I was like, "Oh, this is the Nintendo console before the Switch." And she was like, "Really?" I was like, "I mean, yeah, you were alive when I was playing it. I mean, you were a baby, but like, I showed her the Wii U stuff, but like, it was pointed out the reason why I couldn't download the Metroid Prime trilogy because it was on the Wii library and not the Wii U, and the Wii store is already dead. It's been dead.
Yep.
So I can't get a hold of that game at all, and it was the only one I cared to save. Honestly, that and Fusion. So I'm like, cool. I have my Monster Hunter stuff. Monster Hunter stuff is always local play. I don't need to worry about that. I also have like 4 to 5 physical copies of every Monster Hunter from that generation, so we're good. I don't need to worry about that. But like the digital library stuff, Jacob, you're not wrong. But in the end, like, not all of it. Granted, not all of it, but a decent portion of the ones I really care about are already on the Nintendo Switch Online. Like,
Yeah.
not.
I mean,
there are
looking
ones
back-
that I don't have because of that, but then we got ones that weren't available. For instance, Spanky's Quest was never available. Why did I look for Spanky's Quest? I don't know, but it wasn't available. Now it is. You can get Spanky's Quest on the SNES. And Spanky's Quest is about a monkey who throws balls, sports balls, and bounces them on his head.
Good clarification.
Yes. And bounces them on his head, and the more bounces you have, the bigger the ball gets, and then when it pops, a certain sports ball comes out, and you're killing fruit with them. And it's like an arcade game. It's the weirdest friggin' shit SNES game I ever owned. Maybe outside of EVO, and it's on there. It's on the Switch Online stuff. I was like, why is Spanky's Quest here? who put Spanky's Quest on here?
And then after I got Devil's Third, I had some money left over too, so I got us Kirby's Dream Course.
Oh
Nice.
For it. So Jack and Andrea played a couple rounds of that, and
that's already on
by
your
the
Switch.
end, Andrea.
Okay.
Big deal.
All right.
I just had extra money to blow, and I had scoured through a lot of the other content on there, and I was like, nothing else really pops out, and Andrea didn't really want anything else, so I was like, we'll go with this for now.
Yeah.
And it was funny too because the final score ended up being Andrea 23, Jack 21, and Jack was like, I mean, technically, by golf rules, I won. And then the screen transitioned, and it was like, loser under him, and his secondary character was like a yellow Kirby, and it was just like face down on the ground, like someone shot in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah, because you just
I'm
give
like,
it up.
oh, that's rough.
Oh man, I do love Kirby's Dream Course. It's an amazing game.
Hmm. It'd be cool if they made like a remaster of it, or like a new version of it with like really complex 3D maps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sort of like similar to Mario Galaxy.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah, it'd be cool. I would like to see Kirby Dream Course updated again because that is a fun golf game. Like I'm a sucker for golf games. I own like 3 different putt games on my Switch, but like um having like a updated Kirby's Dream Course would be amazing.
I play it. That's for sure.
So yeah, for as the main topic goes, like I don't really have anything else to say. Wolcen was really the only one that I have played that was like that was sort of like busted at launch. And then of course I Pools of Radiance a little bit, but that was just because my computer couldn't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, but there's nah, that just doesn't fit because like original Diablo I couldn't play, but again that was just because I wasn't allowed to. Because as an 8-year-old, apparently that was just too much. Even though I was playing Primal Rage at the time, Diablo was too much.
Your gaming permissions were broken.
Yes, which ended up not mattering by the time I was 10 at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because once we got Primal Rage, right, we would just be like, but we had this where people could literally bow down and sacrifice themselves to you, and you'd eat them alive. Like, I could use that as like the magic bullet to get any M-rated game to mom. Like, but you already gave us this. We already got
Did
this.
she do the? And then did she do the mom response of fine?
Probably. But then, like, Jacob knowing my dad also just has a sick sense of humor. So, like, my dad was like, no, get it, because that looks hilarious. Like, my dad was not helpful at all on that front. Like, him, my brother, and his younger brother, so my uncle, and I would play Mortal Kombat up all night when we visited my uncle. Like, be like pulling off the fatalities and stuff and be like, yeah, and we played stuff like Bushido Blade on PS1 and just like all these super violent games that were just like, kill him, and then yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think my first M-rated game that I was officially allowed to play was Dead Space 2.
Okay.
And I had like just randomly asked to get this game one day, and my stepdad at the time was like, I mean, it's not worse than anything you like watch on TV currently, so blah blah blah. And and I mean, technically that was wrong, I'd say, because I don't recall watching
Someone's
TV shows with like
poked.
Dismembering, eye poking, and just brutal mutilations. But
that
that's
one's
okay.
rough. That like I've never played number 2, but I have seen that eye poking scene like a couple times through different like media outlet stuff. That one's rough. That one makes my skin crawl, and I can deal with some pretty nasty stuff sometimes. Like that one for some reason gets to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a unnerving scene to just be slowly moving down, and then he gets more frantic if you go too fast with it and whatnot. Just, I think I fucked it up the first time too and stabbed him in the eye. So, whoops.
Whoops! Hit the back of his skull. Oops.
Yeah, that just reminds
Oh
me of
no.
like the Who's line thing of like scenes from a hat, things you don't want to hear right before a major surgery. And one of Wayne Brady's was like, "Fire me, huh? You have fire me."
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my first mature rated game, pretty sure it was GTA 3. I'm
Mm.
like 98% sure it was GTA 3. And like
Oh
my dad,
man.
but I played it in front of my dad though, which is already weird. So like I'm playing, and like then we're both experiencing the game for the first time. Like walking by somebody, and I had like a baseball bat. My dad's like in the back, like he's like on the phone, but he's like, get him. I'm like, okay. God, like buddy falls out, then like cops start chasing me. I was like, what is going on? So
So I have a story about that. So I liked as in high school, I liked getting under my mom's skin about stuff, and she
yeah.
abhors violence of any fashion. Like she is just not. She's not okay with it. She'll watch movies and stuff with violence in it, but begrudgingly
Mm-hmm.
so. Uh,
Mm.
Anything with gore though, she's out. But GTA 3, I specifically was like, "Hey mom, watch this." So I picked up a hooker, had her in the car, and then I let her out, and then I came up with a baseball bat and beat her up for profit and got more
Oh my
money and
gosh.
drove off. And,
You sick bastard.
and she was
Don't
like,
act like you're not depraved. Don't act like we have not all done it in our darkest, deepest boredoms in GTA
"Oh
and
man,
save the game and then go on a rampage.
it was
Oh yeah.
hilarious because she was like, why did we let you buy this game?" She was like freaking out, and Dad's like, "It's funny." Like, like we had a
Um.
general rule: if Dad laughed, we were golden. Like anything
Oh
would
my
go
god.
as long as Dad laughed. And I was like, yes. Oh man.
Yeah, I remember in GTA 5, my old friend and I, we eventually got bored of like obviously the rampage stuff because you can only steal a tank or a jet so many times
Right.
Yeah.
before it just gets repetitive. So what we would do is we'd go into like the middle of the city, turn on the invincibility code, and then turn on the parachute code. So you
Okay.
just teleport into the sky, and then we try to dive bomb into pools in the city.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
That's a fun
So
thing to do.
I think we managed to do it like once out of like 15 tries,
Oh my
and then
god.
we tried a couple more times and gave up just because it's like trying to get like thread the needle perfectly,
Sure.
Yeah.
and oftentimes you can survive, but but like oftentimes we'd get it and you just like smack on the rim of the pool. I think one time we like smacked on the very rim and then just fell into the pool, and I was like,
That counts,
that
right?
doesn't count. That
Oh.
doesn't count.
I did
Wasted.
it. I didn't.
Just awesome stupid things to do in games.
Yeah.
Well, now, tying that into sort of the main topic, wasn't GTA 4 didn't have a bunch of problems on launch, but this would be high school, not high school, college for me. That I remember a lot of people complaining at that time, but maybe that was just a small cosmos of people at my college.
Yeah. I mean, most open world games are going to have like any amount of bugs because you're doing stuff in a sandbox and no amount of testing can get you prepared for when the world gets the
Oh,
game.
that reminded that was one of the other reasons why I was just like I'm out on Cyberpunk is like open world stuff too because I'm like
Yeah.
nah.
I mean, it's still buggy now, but it's within the expected level of bugginess for an open world game. You know what I mean? I'm treating this as like, oh, this is the game just launched. That's how I'm playing it.
It just launched a year and a half ago, but it just
No,
launched.
it just launched. Just launched just now. This is the real launch date.
This is
Like, oh, my hair is going through my hat. That's to be expected. At least I'm not falling through the floor now. Like,
Speaking of falling through the floor, we were playing. So I've been playing a little bit more Rise, even though I finished it. Trying
Mhm.
to some buddies get some things done, and still need to do all the event quests, and I still need another All Mother Orb to finish every single Greatsword. But We were playing together, and we had this visual like glitch, but it was because of the internet connection, not because of any glitch that actually happened. I just saw his nameplate just go whoo down through the floor all the way to the bottom, just like whoo. And I was like, "Did you just fall through the earth?" And he's like, "No. I lagged out there." I was like, "Oh, okay,
Uh,
okay."
Have you ever seen my glitch from World that I got?
I was with you. We both recorded it, right? Was the one with the what was the Legiana that was just stuck in the sky?
Oh no, original World, because that was I think in. Oh wait, no, that was maybe in Base World. No, I had a different one in the Rotten Vale, where a Odogaron had me pinned in the little hallway leading to like the Great Gyros Den, and Basil Geese was fighting us at the same time.
no.
He dive bombed and punched me through the wall,
Ah!
so I fell through the map into a lower zone in the Rotten Vale. And if you go to my YouTube channel, you can see me like walking around like the effluvial pools in like the lowest regions.
Oh my
And then I
god.
think eventually I walk out and walk a bit too far and I just fall through, and then it resets me in like a camp. And the handler's
Wow.
like, "Are you okay?" No, I just like had to come to Jesus moment.
I had an
Wow.
existential crisis of falling forever.
I don't know
Like,
if it was
shouldn't I be dissolved at this point? Like, what's
right.
going on?
I don't know if it was a glitch, but I think it was unintended. Legiana, that was the one with the lightning and the sparks, right?
No, that's Legiana is the ice one in the Coral Highlands.
No, what was the sparks one? The lightning one. It was the horse, the unicorn horse. What was that one?
That's Kieran.
Kieran. Yeah, I died to Kieran while I was in a home base. I was like, I just gotta get the home base. Like lightning strike. I was like, all right. Like,
The
I'm pretty
cart
sure that was unintended.
the cart
Yep.
actually drops you away further than where your body is.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
this doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
There you go. Send it to pod chat.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure Pod Chat will enjoy looking at that. Um Yeah, like I normally don't have a lot of problems with glitches in games, and usually I'm pretty resistant to them. Like I'm pretty like if one happens, I'm not like, oh, this game's crap and I'm out. I can be fairly, especially if it's minor stuff. But like when you lose your progress for like 40 minutes, it happens over and over again. I'm just like, I can't do it. So
Oh yeah. I forgot I have noped out of the game this year because I lost a whole day's worth of progress.
oh
Echo
yeah.
Generation. Yeah, Echo Generation. Remember? I was like, I had did a whole entire like everything I had played that I had played a good amount, like a good
Yeah.
like 5 hours that day. And it was like, yep, and I loaded up the next day. They're like, hey, that started the day from yesterday. And I was like, I did all of this. I was just walking around, I was like,
Okay.
I thought I took that. I thought I grabbed it. I thought I fought that. I was like, oh no. Oh no! Like yeah, it was everything. I think I fought like 4 or 5 bosses. I did like a secret quest. I was like, nope, not doing it. I was like, I can't.
Yeah,
I
it's
refuse.
always it's a
Well,
rough
well,
feeling.
at least you noped out for what would debatably be a legit reason. After I finished up Fallen Order, I started Alien Isolation, and I pretty quickly dropped that because my like self inflicted anxiety over not experiencing the alien soon
Mm.
enough had me like, nope, I need to de-stress right now, or I'm not going to be okay. So I just started playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and that's all I've been playing since.
So that's why I doped out of Prey. By the way, I played Prey. I played the
Mhm.
demo. It had a few jump scares in it. I was like, I think I can handle this. I went and played. No, this is the demo. I went and played, got the full game. I was
Mhm.
like, I think I got it on like GameFly or something. I played, and they put everything that was in the demo in different places. Like all of the jump scares were at different places. And the thing in Prey is the alien can literally be anything. It could be
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
table,
Yep.
a coffee mug.
Mimics.
So yeah, so like everything was different from the demo. I was like, no, I had watched other people play the demo, and all the jump scares were in the same exact spot. I was like, y'all moving it? I was like, it's gonna be random every time. I was like, no, I can't do that. I was like, because I will just be on edge. I thought it was like predetermined, but this is random. I was like, nope, my heart can't take it.
Yeah, I get that. I noped out of a few games this year already.
All right, dude, it's February, it's mid-Feb. Actually, it's end of Feb because it's 28 days, but still.
Yeah, no, I noped out of Extinction. I noped out of Just Cause 4. I
I
didn't.
jumped out. If it makes you feel better, I think, Just Cause 2 and 3. I also noped out of 4.
4 changed it too much.
It was like bigger, more, explosionier, harder, but not more fun. I was like, nope, it's not more fun.
Yeah, they took out all the random mayhem stuff, and it was just like
Yeah.
didn't mean anything, and it would respawn, and you're like, but I wanted to blow up all of that island, and it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't save.
I remember I used to sell people on getting Just Cause 2 when they were looking for a game to play. And I was like, I was like, you're a super spy. I said, but you're the world's worst super spy. I said, think like James Bond. So you have to ask yourself, what would James Bond do? I was like, and that's how you play the game. Oh, a helicopter's coming after you? Grapple the helicopter. Throw the pilot out. You have the helicopter. Blow up the base. Like, that's how that game works.
I loved what sold me is what I called the super physics, where they were just
Yes.
exaggerated physics. So you would shoot the tire out of a car, and it would just, instead of being like spin out or something like a real tire like it would do, it goes
Yeah.
end over end and
Yes. Got those good old movie physics, man.
it just
That game is so. The second one and the third one, particularly the third one. The third one gets it like just right.
oh yeah,
Where they-
yeah.
I think they introduced the wingsuit on the third one, right?
They did. I loved it when I actually managed. It's very hard to do this. I don't know if you ever got one. I actually tethered a jet to something. So I had a tank that
Without
was
it breaking?
yeah, I had a jet that was flying
Impressive.
by, and I timed it just right where I tethered it to a tank, and the and it was on a cliff. So the jet just woof down. And it just goes down in the ravine, and then the tank comes with it, and you just hear all sorts of explosions because it's like hitting everything on the way down. Just like kaboom, boom, 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 and it was like, whoa! I didn't realize one of those like bases were hanging off the cliff at the bottom, so it hit one of the tanks too. So like
Oh my
there was
gosh,
other
that's so
explosions
hilarious.
going off. I was like,
Oh man.
this might be my favorite thing in a game ever. Like,
Oh gosh. Yeah, the grappling hook and all of the mechanics is just it's perfect.
Yeah, I played some of 3 and I dipped out because like I cleared the region and then like the map reset. So like all the bases like reset and got harder.
Oh.
Um,
that's weird. I never had that in
And-
3, but that's exactly why I quit 4, because that's what happens.
I'm pretty sure it was 3 because
Might be 4. Listen,
like-
3 and 4 kind of mesh together a lot.
yeah, because I remember it reset and like everything that I just cleared was now red again. And like the last base that I was going after was like the one where like there are jets that as soon as you're like in the area they just carpet bomb the fuck out of you. So I would always so when I was working on clearing that, I remembered I would just go and take a helicopter, go to like the very edge, and then I'd just like hang upside down on the bottom of the helicopter with it like idling in the air somehow. I don't know. I guess he has some tie down system, and I
Right.
would just like snipe at things in the base,
Hmm.
and then I'd go like a little bit further around, get another angle, snipe it a bit more.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
The only problem I
And
had in 3 was like you have like normal soldiers and stuff you're fighting, and then you had some tougher ones. You get to the end of the game and it's literally ninja soldiers. They like literally just pop in a puff of smoke and start shooting at you with SMGs,
Yeah.
and then puff away in another like smoke, and they're behind you, and they're like that meme. It's not personal, kid. Nothing personal, kid. Like, what the heck?
Nice.
What? It was like, this is pure fantasy now. Like, okay, it was exaggerated fantasy to begin with, but now it's just like literal, just magical ninjas.
See, now you just got to time your zip line correctly so that you can tie one of those guys to the jet and hear him scream.
The
He's
easiest
ripped
thing.
away from the ground.
It's boring, but I would just zip tie them together, and it would just stun them long enough, just finish them off, just like Soprano style. Just walk up and pow, pow, on the back of the head while they're trying to get up, and I'll be like, all right, done. You can't dodge that, you stupid ninja.
My favorite is always still sending the guy to the moon with the makeshift rocket, where you tie his leg to an exploding barrel. You just shoot the barrel just flies up in the air. And at some point, it just becomes a firework.
I did like doing the tying a car to a helicopter and using the car as a wrecking ball. That was fun.
Yep.
I did that with a couple explosive barrels once too, where I would just I just hooked it in and I just went down to the base with the thing trailing behind me and I just stopped and it woof. Oh man.
Nice.
Oh, good times. But yeah, I noped out of Just Cause 4 pretty hard because it just wasn't that. It just wasn't the same game. It was very much more like, hey, do the story. And I'm like, yeah, but the story is the least interesting part. It's like GTA. You got to know what you're after here. It's not the story. It's the goofing around. Yeah, I don't know. I had a lot of games. I just picked up another game. It's like Hell something, not Hell Divers, but Hell something. Actually, you know what? I'll just go look. I have no idea what it is. It was like $15, and I was like, sure, I'll try it. But that's where I've been like noping out of games. Like I try this like janky game I've never heard of, and I'm like, let's see how it is. But I just I lost all interest in playing on the PS5 right now because of stuff I was doing with the Switch. So I was like, I don't want to. It's hard to split between the PS5, the Switch, and the PC. So I just let the PS5 drop off for now, and then I'll probably let the Switch drop off until. Well, I can't. March has got Kirby and Triangle Strategy, and here in 2 weeks I'll be playing
Star Wars.
Yeah, here in 2 weeks I'm going to be playing Triangle Strategy. So I don't know what I'm going to do. But we'll be right back. I'm going to get that.
All right. While he's doing that, Ace, what is the worst game that you've played that you've actually beaten? Like it's bad, but you played it and beat it anyway. Why you think I'll give you mine. Alpha Protocol for the PS3.
Okay.
The game was the worst game that I've ever played. Mechanically, the game graphically was in the uncanny valley. The voice acting was garbage, but in the gameplay and the shooting was wonky. But I still played that game and beat it anyway. Alpha Protocol, worst game that I've ever beaten.
Yeah.
Naruto Boy was the worst game I've ever beaten.
No, not for a show. Like I'm talking willingly. It was bad and you beat it.
You're not gonna like my answer because it turned sour at the end.
I'm gonna say okay. I'm gonna say this. The general consensus is that the game is bad. Like if you go on Metacritic right now, it is trash. You need trash.
Okay.
And not through the review bombers. I'm talking like the review critics that we read on the sites. Everybody has trashed the game.
Okay.
But you
I only have one example because I don't play a lot of terrible games and that I don't legitimately like afterwards. But and if it's terrible, I usually don't finish it. However, this does not qualify under the pretenses that it is bad by critics because it was loved by critics. But the worst game that I ever finished is Red Dead Redemption. The worst game.
The first one?
No, the worst game Red Dead Redemption on the PS3 or 4 or whatever it was.
I'm saying the first one or the second one?
The second one that was the super popular
Okay.
revival. That
All
was
right.
the worst game I ever
Uh,
finished.
So I've got two answers to this. Um, so I typically don't play games that I know are bad.
Yeah,
But
same
I
here.
will say I will count Battlefront 2 because I went back and played it again, or at least I finished
The campaign.
the story DLC that they came out with after the fact.
Yeah,
mhm.
Um, I dislike the story of the game
yeah. I think that was
because
the general consensus
I
too.
I wanted a a bad guy game. Like
Yeah,
Star Wars has always had like the good guys like winning every game, and like I just would have liked to have seen a bad guy perspective, and like
Mhm.
Force Unleashed sort of like freeze the series from that topic or from that like constraint because you can either go good or bad depending on what you want to do. But like I would have liked to have seen just a bad guy story for the sake of they're a bad guy,
well,
and
to be
like a
fair,
third or half of the way through when the character you play as just flips to Republic, I'm like, all right, come on.
I mean that's always the thing. They always flip to the Republic. Everyone. It was the whole thing of
Right.
the whole reformed stormtrooper thing in the New Era trilogies. But I will say there's been one Star Wars movie that ended with the bad guys winning, at least for the moment. Um, and that'd be Empire Strikes Back.
I was like, yeah, episode 5.
Yeah,
Right.
episode
And
5
like,
legitimately was like, why? What is happening? Everything good about number one is falling apart, and it's not getting better. And I think that's what was so bold about that movie is like I can't think of it in the movie that isn't like From Dusk Till Dawn that does that, like a horror movie. Like
Mhm.
I can't
I
like
think Endgame did it, but it was kind of, unless you weren't a comic book fan, you
yeah,
knew, not Endgame. I'm sorry, the Infinity War. But
Infinity
as a
War.
longtime comic book fan, like you knew that it was going to happen. But they at least did a good job of setting everything up so that when it happened, I still shed a tear. I was like, oh my god, like everybody still remembers
Oh,
Mr.
dude.
Stark. I don't feel so good, and it's like, like
Yeah,
Groot's gone.
that got me. That got me.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I found it though. It's called Hell Warders.
okay, because
I don't even
I'm always
know
looking stuff up.
what this is. I
oh,
still don't know what this is.
my second answer, um, because also in like watching films and stuff like that, I have a morbid curiosity and an interest in watching movies that are so bad they're good. Um, Eventually, I will at some point probably end up playing Road to Hell Retribution.
No, don't do it.
Is that the one with the biker dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. No, don't do that.
Oh, oh, dude, I've seen Angry Joe's review. I've seen how bad like the driving mechanics are, and like even like just the monotone motorcycle sounds and like the voice acting and just like the general plot lines and everything. Uh, like like I said, I like watching so bad they're good movies too. Like The Room. I don't know if you've seen recently The Fanatic. It came out like I think around 4 or 5 years ago, starring John Travolta.
Mm-mm.
Um, that one is a wild ride of a movie.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I
Mm-mm.
don't even get into watching something so bad it's good stuff either. Like I don't.
So, so do you know Devon Sawa? He played Stan in Eminem's music video.
No.
The crazed fan who is obsessed with Eminem and
Oh, okay. Yep.
kills himself and his pregnant girlfriend by like driving off a bridge.
Okay.
Yes. I had to look up a second.
So
Yes.
so now picture John Travolta playing a obsessed fan in Hollywood, Um, and he really likes Devon Sawa's character because he's like an actor. He's like a famous actor, and he meets him at a signing, and he gets this map and goes to Devon Sawa's character's house, and then it becomes like a fucking Saw movie, and it is insane.
Hmm. That does not sound appealing, Ace. I am sorry. The
That's
only
fine. It's not to the average person, but to like someone who like me who has like morbid curiosity of like a lot of things, like I was like, this is amazing.
Mm-mm.
Um, and John Travolta's character also has like difficulties.
Hmm.
Um, it isn't like explicitly stated, but he might be like differently abled
Sure.
mentally,
Mm.
but it's never explicitly stated. He just has like
Ticks and stuff.
these weird these
Yeah.
weird mannerisms and tics that could be interpreted as such. Um, just a all around bonkers movie.
Dude,
And
the only
if you enjoy watching having like a drunk movie night and just watching a bad movie, definitely that or The Room if you haven't seen The Room.
What was the name of the John Travolta movie one more time?
fanatic.
The Fanatic,
Okay.
Fanatic or The Fanatic.
Yeah. I will say the only movie that I have ever enjoyed and I still enjoy to this day because I legitimately think it's good, not because um um sorry, I just realized Preacher was in the chat. Um the one you and I like, Ace, and people tell me it's terrible all the time, Kung Pao, Into the Fist.
That's
People
not
think
so
that's a
bad.
bad
It's a good
movie?
movie. That is a good movie because it
I
knows what it is trying to be.
no, I
Like,
agree, but that's the only one I've ever been told is a bad movie that I like. Like I've had people say like that movie's terrible and stupid, and I'm like, but a baby beats him up, and then like how can
then
you not
pisses on his
laugh?
face.
How can you not laugh at the whole like, oh cute little baby, here you go, and she just rolls him down the next side of the hill, like
Mm-mm.
how do you not laugh at that? Man, we are just like riffing today at this point. Like,
Mhm.
Gone.
um,
Could you imagine if they came out with a Kung Pao Enter the Fist video game?
oh, it'd be
What the
ridiculous.
fuck? What would that even look like?
Uh, is it God Hand? Probably look like God Hand. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, that I never played that one, but yeah, I'm the vibes that I know about that game possibly.
Yeah, it was a Clover Studio game. Shinji Mikami. It looked like God Hand, but a little more, but
Mm,
meets like No More Heroes without all the crassness.
mm.
Okay, all right.
I wish they'd. I'd wish they'd come out with the sequel that they teased at the end of that movie.
I mean, they did it just to tease. Like I don't think that was ever
Yeah,
actually planned. But I
I know.
mean,
I wish they did though. It would have
the
been great.
the freaking like 90s graphics like Kung Fu Cow is just hilarious. Like just like it works because it's bad on purpose too. And like
Hmm.
there's so many like I don't know. I don't really have a taste for things that are bad on purpose usually, but like that literally that is the only thing I have been told that is a bad movie that I enjoy. Like everything else has been
Hmm.
like I don't know. I've been into some weird movies, but not like nothing bad. I guess like Interstate
Hmm.
60. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that, but um, James Marsden plays the main character, and it's got like Amy Smart and all these people that are like big actors, but like no one's seen this movie.
Do you guys remember the Hercules movie with The Rock in it?
I never saw it.
I never saw it, but I heard of it.
So me and my wife went to go see that when we were still dating. It's one of our most famous first like dates that we remember. And so we went to go see it, and we're watching this movie, and we're like, "Where is The Rock?" And then it's like we're watching like some of the worst acting we've ever seen. We see the worst CG lion that we've ever seen jump into a water. We're like, where is the Rock? Like I'm talking like an hour into this movie, and then
Yeah.
finally, I just was like, let me go look on my phone. I was like, what is going on here? Apparently, two Hercules movies released in the same year, and we went and saw the wrong Hercules movie. And
Oh,
it is one of those so bad that it was good. I was like, what is we were just sitting there like both was like, okay, is he a villain? I thought he was Hercules. Is he a villain? Like what's happening?
oh no. Actually,
Yeah.
no. There is a movie, and there is a movie that people legitimately don't like that I love, and I forgot about it. 10,000 BC, because like that movie is kind of like
I
people are
think
like it's kind of rote and boring and that kind of stuff. I was like, you don't
Mhm.
understand. It's the only movie I've ever seen that used diatrema. Like you don't understand. The paleontology nerd in me is just like really really in love with this
Wow.
movie because it's like where else are you gonna get the 7 foot tall killer ostriches? Nowhere. No, nowhere else.
think I enjoyed that one when I watched it.
I did too.
Um,
I immensely.
I know a bad movie that I just won't watch. Gods of Egypt, the one
You
that came
know.
out like
You know what's funny?
Oh yeah.
2013 or whatever it
My
was, and
my brother
cast of
legitimately likes this movie, and I saw it on TV the other day. With, like him and my dad were watching. I was like, "What is this? What? I've never seen this."
yeah, and like criticized, and I would say rightly so, for casting so many fucking white people as Egyptians. Like, just doesn't work. Like,
hmm
you somewhat get away with Gerard Butler being a Spartan, but like if you set it in Egypt, you're kind of like stretching it really thin there.
Do you know my level of surprise when I got older and I realized that Egyptians were of Middle Eastern descent and were not white? I just want you to know. Like even
Yeah.
though I knew where the country was, like, yeah, that's in Africa. Like
hmm
Northern Africa? Yeah, cool, I understand. Yeah, keep moving. And I was like, I was like, huh.
Yeah,
Huh.
Wait a
and like
second.
there's other discussions to be had around similar things, but I won't make them just because that's not the type of show we have here.
No, we've only got it political a few times, and for good reason. I feel at the time, but not really a good time now. I don't think. I don't think there's any reason
From
to.
cyberpunk to politics. Let me tell you
Damn.
something.
The politics of cyberpunk. Just
Oh
wait.
no, 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 no. I don't have another hour. Not get into it.
I mean, I do think it was funny how the game has a fucking dick meter if you choose a guy.
Oh. Yeah, I completely forgot about how that game starts because
Do
your character starts out stark naked. And normally I have this thing where like if I'm gonna role play myself in there, I make a male character. But if I know I'm just gonna like set the world on fire, I create a female and I just let them like that's how I played KOTOR. I was like, I'm going dark side, I'm making a female character. So I'm like, okay, doing this, okay, create my character, okay. And my wife is sitting there, we're both like we're helping each other, like she's helping me create my character. And I go, all right, time to do my nails. And they go nails, they pan down. I was like, oh, wasn't expecting no. Whoa.
Nice.
It's like, whoops. It's kind of I forgot. I was like, I completely forgot the kind of game that we were playing.
they
So,
have the converse like chest size meter? I guess as well.
hmm
Okay.
hmm
I didn't pay attention to that.
they have that. And apparently, because me and Ashley have been trying to find a couple different co-op games. Apparently, they have a chess meter in Elder Scrolls Online. I think they have.
A
I don't
lot
know
of
what's going
games,
on.
a lot of games do like a lot, and I don't.
Yeah,
Okay.
some serious games do, but my wife did make me understand that some as a woman you want to match it to your chest size. I was like, okay. I was like, I just left it alone.
Sure. Yeah.
That's it.
I cannot
So
relate, but yes, I get it.
yes, exactly. And then
I
for teenage boys, they just want to see the biggest ones. That's it. That's all I got.
They should just have a shortcut, max size, right there. Boop.
Just Double tap RB.
Boop, boop.
Double tap R1. Boom.
There you go.
Yep.
Don't have to deal with it.
I'm turning red while I talk about it.
I don't normally I normally don't, regardless of the circumstance, do not play off gender. I've talked about this a couple times because D&D stuff. Like I had some just idiot
Yeah.
friends that would just like do herbal essence commercials and just start trying to sleep with everyone in town and stuff. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm out. I mostly just I make a guy with a beard. That's basically my thing. Black hair,
Mm.
black beard, go. Like that's how I look on almost everything. Then if I don't have a beard, I I, I just put on a full faced helmet and you can't see anything.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
Um,
You know,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I said you're used to my fantasy character by now. Black dude, blue hair, blue beard. Let's go.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. Yeah, yeah,
If blue is not available, I will go with silver or white.
makes sense. I mean, you got a thing. Me, I don't know. I don't like. It's weird. I don't like hair color. I don't like piercings or tattoos personally, so I don't do it any time ever.
Yeah, I'm super clean cut normally throughout my day. I keep a nice flat, but I like to live vicariously through my characters.
I mean, most people do. That's
Makes
why
sense.
that's all they look crazy. So I guess we'll call it a night because we've just been rambling at this point. We're approaching 3 hours on the recording.
All right.
Um, so thank you, Jacob, for coming on.
Yeah.
In extremely short notice. Thank you, Ace, for showing up. I appreciate it.
Welcome. Sorry.
It's fine. I was just like I was reaching out to people. I was like, "Hey, are you free?" Because I have no idea where Ace is.
No, that was my bad. Like, I mean, earlier I was slightly concerned because, like, uh, I was gonna do some more Horizon Zero Dawn gaming, and then like the wave of tired just hit me
Mm,
because I go from 11 straight to 7, so that's a pretty short span to sleep.
yeah.
Um, and some days I'm up and I'm good to go until like 2 or 3 in the morning on Saturdays. Today was not one of those days, but I woke up like around 5
Mm.
and I was like, all right, I'm good to go. I had my nap, I'm good to go. And then dinner came around and just lost track of time, unfortunately.
Oh, it
Yeah.
happens. Dude, whenever the kids here, they take so much energy out of me. I will just fall asleep at the drop of a hat. They leave me alone. Like, so I get it. So thank you for coming, Jacob. I thank you, as always, Ace. We will be next week returning with. I think we already have the topic because we're just pivoted to topic today to account for Sasha because she was sick today. So we're going to try to do that next week if she's feeling better. And
Feel better, Sasha?
yes. What was that topic? I'm trying to find it. Wow. We talked about a lot of stuff this week, more than normal. Oh, okay. So mechanics uh, in games and systems in modern games, in comparison to older games that just made them better. So
A right thumbstick.
yeah, I mean yeah. So something along those lines of
Stomach salt.
innovations in games that yeah made them better to play and whatnot. And conversely, stuff we lost because there's that too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Don't talk about Ape Escape. I'm unsubscribing. I'm leaving bickering bucks.
if we don't talk about Ape
You don't
Escape,
talk about Ape Escape. Yes, right.
I wasn't talking franchises as much as just like
No, the game was built around the analog. It was the game that was like, this is the DualShock. We made this game around the DualShocks.
I never played it.
Based on your face, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm leaving right now. That's it. I'm coming.
I know what it is. It was heavily advertised. It was everywhere.
Oh
The
my
the
gosh.
only monkey game I played was Super Monkey Ball, and I just played billiards all the time on it.
Ape Escape was as groundbreaking on the PlayStation as playing Super Mario 64 was on playing it on the Nintendo 64. That's all I'm gonna say.
My PlayStation only had a couple games that I really super cared about. Most of them were Oddworld games.
I remember where I was when I cracked it open on Christmas. I remember what house I was living in. I remember the TV, the room I played it in. I remember everything.
I would feel the same way about Oddworld, honestly. Um,
All right. Well, apparently you got it at the very end of a 3-hour show about one of the most monumental changes in gaming, the DualShock and Ape Escape. There you go. All right. Have a great one.
okay, I just never played it. It was one of those things where you had to buy it based on the cover art, and I don't like monkeys, so I was just like, monkeys, I'm out.
Neither do I, but anyway.
So thank you
Oh,
guys for listening. Thanks for tuning in on the chat. We'll catch you next week, and look out very soon, not only for this episode, but this Tuesday, Jacob and I, along with our good buddy Brian and my brother, will be talking about Arceus.
we
So
got a fourth.
yeah, and I'm going to say this on this show because I don't have to worry about it. It actually finishes his games.
No comment.
So see you guys. Have a good weekend or rest of the
All
weekend.
right. Bye
Oh
bye.
man.
You're deplorable.
Uh, yep, yep, yep.